Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to one of Japan's little-known masterpieces. My name is Scotty Rattlegun Rank, and we're here for another SRW Wacky Wednesday doubleheader. And alongside of me is the Chef Toddy, who will be on the broadcast controls here this evening, and Mr. Cowie. Cowie, this is Okayama. It is one of the tracks that will greet new iRacers when they join the platform. One of the free tracks, better known for its short course racing with smaller capacity cars. And, well, I think we got the perfect combination lined up for you guys tonight.
TCRs at a tight little track like Okayama. That's going to be a good night, buddy. This is a great track. Great one to drive. It's very technical, but it's also enjoyable in lots of different cars. I love it around in the V8s around here, and we're here this week as well. I'm sure the Porsches are going to enjoy it as well, and the TCRs tonight. It's going to be a cracker, buddy.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that's just a little bit different, a little bit more technical and tricky, but it makes for some amazing racing. It's got a few elements to it that you've got to get figured out. Will somebody be willing to go through the hairpin into revolver and go 2 by 2 through that next corner? Because a Mazda MX-5, a Skip Barber, a Formula V, yeah, they can probably do that. But a TCR, boy, it's going to be tight and tough and tricky through there. It's one of those curious elements is the track here from Okayama. It's something a little bit different, and honestly, I've got a big old soft spot in my heart for it.
Look, this is a great racetrack. It was opened in 1990. It was actually a private track for the rich and wealthy, right? And was sort of all veteran British touring car drivers that sort of started the first racing here. But it actually held 2 Formula One Grand Prix here, 94 and 95. So it made Japan one of the only 9 countries to host, more than one Formula One event in a year. So, pretty interesting place, buddy. In the V8 supercar, I love it. The TCR, man, I don't know how these guys are going to deal with the understeer and just trying to carry that speed. Like in the V8, you let the rear step out and make the car nice and pointy. These things aren't pointy at all.
Yeah, look, and they don't want to rotate on power. You sort of got to rotate them off the power, turn them down nice and sharp. There is a couple of angles around the track, actually, where the guys will potentially be able to do that. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that throughout proceedings here tonight. Look, ladies and gents, it's going to be a long one for you. I hope you have settled yourself in because we've got Formula 3 coming your way. The other side of the TCR race. TCRs tonight as well. We're going to have heat and feature format, which means we're going to be getting into that reverse grid race, which means there are going to be some fast guys making their way from the back end of the field. And I like that combination. I really, really do. Because it's not one of these tracks where you're off the track and immediately in defense. Is a little bit of area of risk. You can bump, grind, slide a little bit wide and still catch it, Cowie.
Reverse grids and TCRs, it's a recipe for absolute mayhem, and that's why we love it here at SRW TV, buddy.
Well, look, some people call it a blast, some people call it a disaster, so I'm going to coin the term blast-saster.
A disaster.
or alternatively, it'll all blow up in your face and you've got yourself a bazooka. But anyway, moving right along, the lap time's coming in thick and fast. Corey McFarlane's jumped out to an early lead in terms of lap time. These guys will be trying to run their tanks down as low as they can without overheating their tyres. They may take a lap off in the middle of qualifying. Riley Jones is up in P2. Paulie Gerland's found some pace as well. Who's that on screen? That's Adam Hughes, who's returned to give us a demonstration of his driving capabilities. That's okay, Adam. We know you don't have many driving capabilities, mate. It's all right. You don't need to display that.
He can only drive a Porsche, man. That's the only car he can drive.
There's not a Porsche TCR yet, Adam. You might want to get onto iRacing about that. Perhaps Porsche themselves. I don't think they make a front-wheel drive car in this sort of a format, do they?
Well, they're weird putting the engine in the rear, so I suppose they could do that if they really wanted to.
A rear-engine front-wheel drive car coming from Porsche. That would be a sight for sore eyes. That would be something unique. Righto. Moving down the field, Adam Hughes we were talking about. Deacon Gurlin, who finished on the podium last week, had Dad jump in and say hello to us for him. Was very, very impressed with his driving last week. Matty Gerard continues to return to form in the SRW TCR series. Brad Wall's out there slamming laps together. Hopefully not Walls.
You mentioned Nathan Allen there. You'll get up.
No.
Get me, mate,
No.
So.
No. I was hoping to get away without mentioning him. He didn't show up last night or Monday night, sorry, to the NASCAR truck race. So he gets.
He was in the dirt last night.
He was in the dirt, but he wasn't in the NASCAR trucks. He's not a super speedway fan. So Talladega, whilst it has rich heritage, I guess that's the thing for the NASCAR truck season this season. We've gone for heritage sort of tracks. Anyway, getting off of topic. There's another Gurlin. There's 3 of them. They've all got different initials, and I've still managed to forget. Caleb Gurlin's the 3rd one. David Leslie, Greg Leake, Matt Bailey, Greg Johnston, Daniel Fritz, Dean Sinkovich, and rounding out the tail end of the field is actually Dylan DeBono, who's yet to settle up at this point in time.
I think Randall.
Oh, and Randall Lurpui
and Dylan DeBono have both got rear grids, and maybe that's why they're not qualifying. So, and Stephen Sinkovich, I think, must be the same as well, though we know that Stephen, sometimes it's a bit of a squeeze for him to try and get on for this TCR race, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just quickly fired it up, registered, and then, gone and done what he has to do with the kids and see if he gets a chance to jump on for the race. That's a great shot there. I love that.
Yeah, that sort of gives you the essence of the layout. Have a look at sort of what's around it. That looks not necessarily like forest from this angle, but that's, the joys of trying to make things processable. This is shortcuts that you're seeing, graphical shortcuts that designers will make to try and make things more palatable to CPUs and graphics processors. So even though they look like small, thin lines of trees to us, when you're out on track, you get a pretty real sense of it. So wedged in the forest in Japan. This is a phenomenal, lovely little flowing circuit, and the best part is it's very, very good. And the reason why iRacing has made this a free circuit that comes with a part of the content pack is because it is a great circuit for learning your craft on, Cowie.
Well, I said MX-5s around here. I think I did my first wheelie bins race in the V8s here as well. I know looking through, it's been a while since the V8 official series has been here, and I think some of those old settings were failing tech with all of the updates, so should be making it interesting for Sunday, I think, boys. A few of the guys might have to play around and work out their own setups.
Well, the Porsches are not going to like it. It's got lots of long flowing corners, so being able to pick up the throttle nice and clean is not going to be easy. Are we seeing any shuffling in that qualifying order? Not so far. Everyone seems pretty well locked in, so I would say tyres have fallen off just a little bit. Guys are still out there on laps, include Adam Hughes, Corey McFarlane, Riley Jones still out there as well. I'm not seeing our P3 driver. It looks like Paul Gurlin is
Caleb
done.
Gurlin did jump up a spot to 8th. I think Bradley Wall also jumped up into 9th. So there was a couple of movers, but looks like those guys are off the track.
Daniel Fritz has grabbed himself a few spots as well because he was behind Greg Leake before, so he's jumped a few. And Greg Johnson is having an absolute blast. I've had the opportunity to have a few conversations with Greg Johnson, and he's enjoying this series like you would not believe. So it's phenomenal to see him coming back week after week.
He got fired up a couple of rounds ago, so he's starting to take this bit seriously, man. There might be a sheep station on there for Leakey for this series because he is loving it. And I think he's loving the fact that he's in the mix, So
I was just going to say, I think from Riley Jones, that would have been classed as an unsafe pit lane entry. There is, ladies and gentlemen, for you that don't know at home, where he entered, if we can probably get a replay of that, that's probably a really good opportunity to have a look at that. Because one of the quirks of this track, the driver's got to know where to enter pit lane. And Riley's entered that fractionally late. No, he might have got away with that one. It's the yellow line that I'm sort of referencing.
I think he stayed inside.
Yeah.
It's actually a bit strange there because maybe because it's an older track, but if you go outside that yellow line and get on the grass, instead of getting a pit lane penalty, you actually get a slowdown.
Which is probably the appropriate penalty for you trying to cut. It is more appropriate. But the end result is, for the drivers that need to enter pit lane, that curbing in the second last corner, or Mike Knight corner as it is known, you have to enter to the right-hand side. So this is what a regular lap will look like.
And there's
around the outside of that curbing.
there.
Yep, you've got to be on that underneath that yellow line on the inside of that curbing. Qualifying starting to come to its conclusion. With the heat format, we have 30 seconds of qualifying left. Adam Hughes and Corey McFarlane are going to be the only two who'll get their laps complete. And with those now in the books, that will be qualifying all over and done with. Adam Hughes improved in his first sector. He will improve at the line. No improvement from Hughes. So that will... No, there was a slight improvement from Hughes, but not enough to grab him another spot. So that will lock us in. That will be our starting grid. There is absolutely no one with 5 seconds less than that. 1 single second. It's done. Qualifying is over. And that is our starting grid for our 15 lap.
Corey McFarlane, the only man in the 37s there. It's a great effort from him, buddy.
All right, so format for this evening, it is 15 laps for our initial race. Top 10 will be inverted grid for our feature rate here tonight, which will be an extra 7 laps on the heat race, so 22 laps for the second race. Probably going to be a pit stop in that one. Right, your pole position for Melville Equipment Corporation. Corey McFarlane from Send It Sim Sports puts it up on the front row. Riley Jones and the Man Up Sim Racing Entries Championship leader, I believe, on his outside. Paul Gerlin for DSL Racing and Adam Hughes. So 4 different teams among our top 4 before we throw it back to Deacon Gerlin alongside of Matty Gerard in P6. Nathan Allen for Velocity Sim Labs and Caleb Gerlin P7 and 8. Brad Wall, the first of the Team SRW Motorsports cars and my teammates alongside of Daniel Fritz. David Leslie in the After Dark Sim Racing car alongside of Greg Leake in the first of the Team Greg Racing cars. We'll go over a page here to have a look at P number 13, which will be Matt Bailey, who has just been removed from the service. And Matt's actually not registered for this series, and therefore he was removed. So ignore that one on the grid. So he'll be in a vacant spot alongside of Greg Johnson, Dean Sinkovich, and Dylan DeBono with that rear grid penalty for Dylan. Dean Sinkovich, that's actually where he qualified. Ignore that one. Randall Uapui, your safety car drivers, Stefan McCartan and Greg Barber, and Stephen Sinkovich getting the full-on rear grid penalty, starting for the very back spot on the grid in P20. So it's going to be 15 drivers by the look of that there tonight, boys.
Well, let's hope Stephen gets out there on track. Because I know he's a busy man, a busy family man as well. And he's always complained about the first race. He can generally make the second one and join the F3s.
Well, he's in the session, so he can participate in the feature race, even if he doesn't get involved in this 15 little shootout.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And, well, here we go, buddy. Heat number 1 about to start.
That's it. Lights are going to come on. We'll be on the run to turn number 1. Will that Audi launch itself off of the outside of the front row? Indeed it has. And Corey McFarlane will get the initial jump. Looking to his outside, I believe, is going to be Paul Gerlin. Will try and get out and around the man-up sim racing driver, but Jones will lock himself in. Hughes under threat immediately from behind. I believe it's Matty Gerard that's trying to fire his way down there. No, actually, it's Deacon Gerlin who's going to put all the pressure all over him. So now it is going to be Matty Gerard. There's a car backwards in the background. There's a huge accident in turn number 2. David Leslie and Stephen Sinkovich. So Sinkovich does make it into the race, and he does find the back end of another car. So he will be heavily damaged, and it's still continuing on. Greg Johnson's up a whole host of spots. That is Dylan DeBono that you saw. That is Greg Leake parked on the inside, and there is somebody crashed up on the outside. Randall Uapui. Well, he's not had the best season so far. Caleb Gerlin is stuck in it, so there's 3 cars who are going to be towing back to the pit lane, and that has triggered the first SRW safety car for the evening.
Well, there you go, mate. Plenty going on there at the start. TCR monsters. Great to see the boys and girls trying hard out there, but look at that car. It's a bit broken.
So 3 towing on the first lap, and safety car is going to collect up the field. Stefan McCartan's driving that one, that SM that you can see moving around through turn 1. Caleb Gerlin, oh my word, that's a heavy hit on the left front of that suspension there, Cowie.
That does look like a very damaged car. I was going to mention for you tonight, you got no worries tonight, Scotty. Unfortunately, Harry's still getting his PC fixed, and Tyson is at a grand final dinner, so there's no performance sim racing machines out there. Oh, look at that. So that leaky. Oh.
Steven Sikovic in backwards into that one.
Oh.
He lost it on his own trying to get in there. Oh no, it's not funny. Caleb Gurlen's having a hell of a time in that car. Good news, there's a spare car back in the pit lane. He'll get a quick sprint back to the lane.
Well,
Safety cars collected the field as well, Cowie.
Was that Greg Leake that went into the side of Caleb?
Yeah, Greg Leake is now towed as well.
And that might result in Leakey getting a penalty as well. Then we'll have to see what race control's got to say about that.
Well, Randall Luapui he had a rear grid penalty as well. So this is one of the issues with starting at the back. Is that unfortunately sometimes that's just how it happens. David Leslie looks like he's pitted.
That car was still twitching. That's how much that impact hurt.
Not hard enough to be immediately brain dead on impact, just hard enough that it'll keep twitching for a few hours afterwards, yes.
Well, the man out front, Corey McFarlane, has managed to stay clear of all of the madness happening behind him. Riley Jones, I know the boys early during the practice, were looking at Riley's times going, oh, Riley sounds like he's a bit off it, you know, because his times were down, and then he came out in quali and smashed it and put it up on the front row. So, maybe just, I think some of these guys will use the practice and really sort of explore those boundaries. You know, try and find exactly where you can put the car, where's fast, where's slow, and are prepared to maybe, you know, risk a lot of it in practice to try and find that information out for the race.
I think important here now as well, Cowie, is that we will be time certain as well on both of these races for anyone that is watching along at home. So we do get a maximum server time limit for the heat race of 20 minutes. Now, with 15 laps, if they were to go at maximum pace, based upon Corey McFarlane's qualifying time, now the tyres do take some time to come up to temperature, that's just shy of a 1 minute 40. Indeed, the the slowest car in the field is at a 1 minute 40, which was Greg Johnson. So I think we're going to be time certain. I don't think we're going to get through all the laps here with a safety car doing one more lap.
I think you're right there, buddy. So, you know, and, you know, again, we've got to be time certain tonight. There's an iRacing maintenance tonight, I think, and we're going to try and fit 2 races of the TCRs and then 45-minute F3 race as well, buddy. So it's all jam-packed tonight here at SRW.
45 minutes of limited bashing is how I'm going to refer to that.
Well, they're at
Interlagos.
José Carlos Pace, aren't they?
Yeah. 45 minutes of bashing that limited down into turn number 1, I think. Great track, though. Great track that we're coming to you live from Interlagos.
It is another one of those great tracks that I think those must-haves you've got to have out there.
Honestly, screw the 24 hours of Daytona. Screw the 24 hours of Nürburgring Spa. Give me 24 hours in Interlagos.
Oh, I don't know. The Nürburgring is an unbelievable. The Nordschleifer.
Look. That's okay. Like, I understand the prestige and everything that these events have, and I'm saying this as a guy who's won a 24 hours of Spa. So, you know, and the 24 hours of Daytona actually this year. Give me 24 hours in Interlagos.
It's interesting. I'm sure Sao Paulo, Brazil will be happy about that. Looks like a few of the drivers getting their wave around to get their lap back. So that was, I think that was Caleb going through then. So that's good to see. I don't know if they'll get a chance to get right around and get on the back of the train, but it's better than nothing, isn't it?
I reckon they're going to have to pull another lap here because it's just too close. Right, so Randall Luapui and Greg Leake haven't actually caught the safety car chain. So Caleb Gurlen was the only one of those 3 cars involved in that first lap accident that's been able to put himself in a position to get a lap back. So that's because Caleb Gurlen's the only one of the 3 that actually went a lap down.
Others here, no, Leakey's coming around to try and get his lap back as well. So.
No, so they're actually catching the pack. They're actually catching the pack, and they will catch the pack. So they're on the lead lap. So everyone's back on the lead lap. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone will get the opportunity to go racing now. In fact, even the safety car is on the lead lap.
How does that work? That normally.
Well, he's leading the field. He's leading the field. He's effectively only a second or 2 away from going a lap down. But because he pulled out at the end of pit lane and he's leading the field around before they took the 1 lap, he's on the lead lap.
There you go.
Stephen McCartan putting some hard work in there.
Well, it's going to be hard work once we get going again because we've already shown that these guys are prepared to Ascended. I know there are. Is there any of the Ascended Sim Sports boys out there? I think
There is. Corey McFarlane.
Yeah, Corey's out there. So yeah.
He's out there. He's out there sending it in the lead. He wants to get past Stefan. You can see how close he is. He wants to put Stefan a lap down. But you can't pass the safety
lap
car.
is going to do is it's going to eke up a fair bit of that time. We're already 7.5 minutes into this 20-minute race. So I think you're right, buddy. We think these guys get around in another minute or so. We're going to have 11, maybe 12 minutes. At a minute 40, we're probably only going to get about 7, maybe 8 laps.
But we're on lap 4 now, so
well,
potentially
that's what I mean.
getting up to 12. So we're only going to lose a couple laps.
Yeah. All right, just bunching the field up now as we get ready to go, buddy. So
fun fact. This is the only series that runs the SRW DSL. It's a promo department safety car, isn't it? The promo department safety car, where the safety car itself is actually faster than the cars that it's patrolling around. Because the safety car in this is a GT4 McLaren 570S, which is a GT4 car. They are faster than the TCRs. There you go.
Well, just the field spacing out a little bit here. This is where everyone's got to be careful. We had a bit of an issue in the V8 race on Sunday with sort of people getting banged and having to brake check and, well, not brake check, but having to brake hard in the train. So
interestingly, Cowie, here we're going to have an interesting one. So, yeah, you're obviously talking about safety car chains and the way that works, and we've got potential for checkups here. If Caleb Gerlin can actually catch the rear end of this pack, he will actually have warm tyres and nobody else will. So, but he's got to catch the pack yet, and he is trying his utmost to get there.
I don't think he's going to quite make it, but let's keep an eye on the front because it's just about ready to go green. Here we go. So Corey just holding it right to the line before he's going to go.
He should have gone the instant he entered the corner that way. He sort of wigged it out for everyone else, but everyone else is going to be back to green flag racing. Adam Hughes is going to try and file down the inside and see if he can get a spot away from Paul Gerlin, but you have to wake up a few hours earlier than that to get one over Paulie Gerlin that early. The man has driven a lot of race cars in real life. By race cars, I mean go-karts, of course.
Well, I know I actually didn't get a chance to mention it last week, but Dylan DeBono, because he unfortunately had a PC, I think he lost power, I think he said. But he was racing a couple of weekends ago in the XL Cup out there at Wakefield Park. Apparently that's another track getting closed down, noise complaints, buddy, which is a shocker. But he wanted me to give him a shout out for TPS Motorsports, so keep an eye out for him on Facebook out there, guys, and give him a like if you're around.
Keeping an eye on it, and shout out to Sharon Gerlin, who I believe is actually in the chat at the moment, saying that she's keeping an eye on her Gerlin boys. Caleb has made his way back onto the lead lap, 20 seconds behind the tail end of the pack, and David Leslie is going to make contact with Dean Sinkovic and spin him around. So that is Sinkovic. He's got clear track, and this will be an opportunity for Caleb to try and tag onto the rear end of the field.
Well, unfortunately, that might be something coming David Leslie's way. But again, race control are the people that will look at all of that. I suppose we're allowed to talk about it, buddy, but it's not us to make any decisions.
Car off in the last sector. So trying to set themselves out. I think it might have actually been Nathan Allen who was actually off, because it was a Velocity SimSport car, and I think it actually was Nathan Allen who was off. He was in the final sector. Anyway, firing it down the inside now, just behind Nathan Allen is going to be Matty Gerard, who'll get a move done on Brad Wall, parks it in front of the SRW liveried car, gets that one done once again, but this has allowed Nathan Allen to sort of eke out a little bit and try and tag himself up.
Greg Leake has been given some bad news with a drive-through penalty for that contact on lap 1 has been handed out, buddy. Oh,
racing hard, still continuing on. Is that DeBono? Yeah, that is DeBono down the inside of Dylan. Daniel Fritz, he'll try and get that move done as the corner opens up. Fritz will get the option of the draft pack ahead of him, but luckily enough, Brad Waller's trying to duck to the inside again. This battle just will not go away from Matty Gerard. DeBono's going to try and fire it down the inside of Daniel Fritz, and at the same time, Brad Wall gets a move done on not David Leslie, Matty Gerard.
Matty Gerard, but you can see here that Daniel Fritz not ready to give that up. A little bit of a tag there on Dylan, but he's finally got that done. Just goes to show you've got to be maybe aggressive around here in a TCR, and you know, really trying
down
to
the
own that.
inside. Matty Gerard's going to try and take that one back away from him, and Dylan DeBono's forced to just sit and watch as he gets that move done on Daniel Fritz now as well. He's just going to have to find a way through. These guys are going to hold him up. He wants to make sure he cracks into that top 10. Indeed, he has now cracked the top 10, but he needs to stay there now as Gerard and will continue to go toe-to-toe. Gerard will pull this one away, dips the wheel off. DeBono decides that this is actually built for rallycross.
Those lawns need mowing out there, buddy. But again, we've seen it time and time again, Scotty. Anytime people are battling, it just costs you time. And that 2-car battle quickly becomes a 3, 4, 5, 6-car battle if you're not careful. You've got to get the job done.
So,
you've got to be decisive, by the way. You've got to send it and get as much of the car up there as you can.
Something I'd like to point out is that he might drive Hyundai Excels in real life, Matty Gerard, but he's driving an Audi. There's 2 Hyundai options within the TCR field, and he's going for the one that's not one that he drives in real life.
I think there's, you know, quite a few of the guys like the Audi. I think the guys before saying that the Hondas might struggle here. So
I'd tell that to Riley Jones.
Yeah, well, he's having a cracker up in P2 at the moment. The guys were talking about it seemed a bit harder to get him to turn in.
Riley doesn't seem to be having any problems whatsoever. In actual fact, he's making the most of it. That Honda right up underneath the rear bumper now of Cooley McFarlane, and with 13 minutes on the clock, we're going to have 6 minutes to go here in a few moments. So approximately 3 to 4 laps left is going to get us to lap 11 of the 15 in heat number 1. So it will definitely be time certain at this point. We will not get all 15 laps in. I wonder what drivers are aware of that.
This on board shows exactly why.
McFarlane.
Well, this on board shows exactly why I'm no good at driving these TCRs, because he was full throttle coming out of the corner, almost full lock, right hand down, and the car was going straight.
Now I've got a battle going on in the background between Nathan Allen and Matty Gerard. No, it's Brad Wall. DeBono, who's actually gotten his way down and past Brad Wall on the way down into turn number 1. So DeBono will finally get that move done. Matty Gerard is starting to try and track down Nathan Allen, who's got through and got away from him up ahead with all the fighting that was going on. And now it'll be DeBono's turn to try and line that move back up. He's looking for a few points back in this race, but his focus will be firmly on that feature. Every spot that he starts up from P10 is one spot further back on the grid. So the guys at the front, they're starting from 9th and 10th.
Well, there are still points on offer for this race, so you know it does count. But you want to be somewhere near the front for that feature. The guys out front, they show their pace, but we've seen how hard it can be to battle through the pack, and when you start getting caught in battles, it slows you down. All right, David Leslie getting issued a drive-through penalty for the incident and the restart as well there, Scotty. So race control is right on it at the moment for tonight.
Yeah, they are. They've got their hands full. Well, check out the recovery effort on screen at the moment from Caleb Girl, and he's driving his way back up through the field quite aggressively. I'm a little disappointed in Stephen McCartan in that pace car. He's now 4 laps down. But then again, there's been clean racing ever since, so... Gotta have a dig. Gotta have a dig anytime you can. You know what it's like, Cowie. Never miss an opportunity to dig your fellow race car drivers.
Of course, but we've got to be careful. We've got to keep it PG, buddy. With sponsors out there. So, but well, it's one of those things that is that David going in to serve his drive-through, I think now. So, but yeah, look, it's one of those things. It seems to be that Australians generally. We are more polite to a stranger than we are to a friend.
I think you're referring to British humour there, Cowie.
But it's just something the way we are. But so we will swear and call each other names under the sun, and it's meant as a term of endearment of friendship.
Yeah.
Whereas when you talk to someone you don't know, you're normally polite. So maybe some of those conversations we can't bring to the air as a result, buddy.
Well, I literally said to a colleague on the way out the door yesterday, look, everything's done in the troublemaking department. Here's all the notes for the end of the day. Make sure you lock up when you leave. So, you know, it's that larrikin attitude, isn't it? That battling in the midfield, it's just not going away. Bradley Walls managed to track down Matty Gerard now because Matty Gerard's been passed by Dylan DeBono.
Randall Luapui with a good recovery too. He's running in 12th here, chasing up onto the back of Greg Johnson at the moment. So
there was a further incident that's gone on for Randall Luapui in the race because Race Controls has come over the in-game chat with a ruling on that one. So we don't have footage. Never mind. The man behind the mics, Mr. Chef Toddy's managed to go and track that one down out of the archives. Randall Luapui's going to weave.
Well,
to the inside of the moment. Don't take your eyes off this. Luapui with the late move will get Greg Johnson.
Greg's going to try and get it back. Oh, no.
Luapui gets contacted by Greg Johnson.
Greg will probably let him back through, or that'll probably be a redress there. Yeah, Tate, good to see you in the chat there. Well, we did have a safety car before saying we need another one. Well, we've already had one. We're coming right to the end. We're only within the last minute and a half, so it'll probably only be one more lap, maybe two. Okay, so there's a bit of door banging.
This is the previous incident between Luapui and Johnston. So this prior incident that we've now just witnessed adds a little bit of context to the rubbing and grinding that was going on just before that you just saw. This was a back on lap 7, and Race Control said, look, you both turned in there. Play on. You've both contributed to the incident.
Well, it's going to be on again as Luapui is closing back up on the back of Greg. So
I kind of don't want to return to look at the leaders because I want to see where this ends out.
Well, I think both of these guys are just racing hard, and I know sometimes when you're along the straight, it can be hard. Even I've got triples with 189 degrees field of view, and even sometimes I struggle to note the cars up alongside me because they can get your blind spot.
Oh, okay. So Race Control have decided. We just heard it's So it's been decided that Greg Johnson was deemed at fault for the second incident. So the one we actually saw first was the second incident as a result of that.
So is that a redress?
Yes, Race Control have asked to give that spot back. Which, again, penalty fits the crime.
Oh, I think so. Again, we can comment on it. Race Control have got the fortunate job, or fortunate, we hope, of adjudicating that sort of stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. There's generally never anything intentional. It's just, you know, you've got a box with 4 wheels and you're trying to own that bit of real estate that you're pinned on it.
That's it. Yeah, and the amount of battles you and I have had over the Radical series so far this season, we'll get back to that as Dylan DeBono is actually going to have a go here, I think, at Deacon Gerlin in the closing stages of what I believe is the final lap of this race as they're on the run. So he'll set himself up here, try and get to the outside here as we go through Hobbs. Now it's the run to Mike Knight corner. DeBono will again cut to the grass, looking for every little bit of real estate, every little bit of traction. The late dive in at the apex, but Deacon is far enough ahead. He's going to come away with that one. And the man that drives a Hyundai in real life, but not on the sim, comes away with P number 6.
It was a pretty good. He had a go there, but again, it was a sort of half send, and but realised that he was probably going to lose his nose if he sent it all the way. So yeah, but that's what you got to try and do: have a go and put it on the line. And it wasn't a silly move, so we didn't see contact. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, there was no reason for Deacon to turn in from the car ahead either, because all he does is potentially get himself spun and loses a ton of spots as well. But at the same time, he left enough room for DeBono to think about having a crack, got far up enough to go, yeah, I'm not going to be far enough up. So what was the end result of Greg Johnson and Randall Luapui is that Luapui will walk away with P number 11 out of that one, and Greg Johnson P12. So that sorts all of that action. And generally, as is the case, a reasonably fiery first race here from the TCR. I think the second one is going to be a lot better. I'm expecting at least one safety car here.
look, we've got fast guys at the back, and we know that
Well, they're in the middle.
even if you're fast in these cars, put some other traffic around you where you've got to try and get past. And it's one thing to be fast and lead from the front. It's another thing to find your way through. You know, you generally need to be a couple of seconds a lap quicker in most cars to make moves cleanly. So instead, it comes down to your race car setting them up. You know, do that peekaboo out there and let them know. Try and put the pressure on, and hope and force a mistake. So it should be a great race, buddy. 30 laps. I don't think we'll get that there, but it's gonna be awesome.
It's 22 laps, 30 minutes is the duration of this section
right.
one. So it's going to be Corey McFarlane who will be relegated to P10 on the grid, which conveniently, have a look at that. Have a look at P number 11. Randall Luapui will be starting immediately behind Corey McFarlane and will be in with a shot. And this is going to be a Randall Luapui who is going to be fired up after incidents in race number 1 and being forced to tow, burn a fast repair, and be none the wiser for it, let alone the incidents with Greg Johnson that played themselves through. But Corey McFarlane takes race number 1. Riley Jones will continue another strong run of form and hopes to start getting closer to closing that championship out. Remember, 2 more weeks remain of this series after tonight. 2 more weeks remain of every series in the sim racing world. What would you call it? It's not an encyclopedia, event, forum, racing league. You know what?
Calendar.
Calendar. Yeah.
And on that note, buddy, today season 4 registrations are open. So make sure you go to simracingworld.com.au and go to registrations. And you can be one of the first to jump on board for our season 4, which is our all-Australian series. So Australian tracks. And we're going to go at them a couple of times. And it's going to be awesome, buddy.
Yes, interesting calendar, alternative format. Now, the thing is, I'd love to include the Calder Park Thunderdome in the layout.
Well, maybe next year we might be adding Fukukoe if that goes ahead. There's, all the rumours of iRacing has been approached about scanning the track, and they're apparently on board. So it's now down to the racetrack owners to see if we end up with a Kiwi track in the server as well, buddy.
So we'll settle ourselves in for race number 2 here in 2 minutes' time. Who's been your standout performer so far from race number 1? Adam Hughes has managed to snag away P number 3 from Paulie Gerland, so he did manage to snatch that one away from him in the end. But I don't know, that fighting through the mid-pack was quite good. Dylan DeBono grabbed a whole host of spots cleanly and patiently.
Yeah, about 6 spots I think he picked up, so, he's probably the standout at race 1. And we know that, Dylan is a fast guy in any car he jumps into. He's also passionate. So,
incredibly passionate, yeah.
Unlucky in the V8s last week with I think it was a power issue on his PC, he said. He saw his ping, I think it was internet, he said he saw his ping going up, so he just pulled over, because he didn't want to blink everywhere, which is the right thing. It's in the rule book, guys. And we don't want, if you're blinking all over the shop, it makes it hard for the other guys around you, so, people generally try and do the courteous thing.
You're just saying that, so I pull over tomorrow night in the Radicals, aren't you? Because you know what my internet's like sometimes.
Well, the problem was last week, buddy, is I could keep you behind me for a while, but once you got past me, I couldn't catch it again.
It's called the undercut, mate. Haven't you heard of it? It's this phenomenal Formula 1 strategy.
I was close to getting you back, but yeah, nah.
It was good. It was good fun.
That was an excellent combination, the Radical and Suzuka. I loved it. It was awesome.
Have you seen where we're off to tomorrow night?
I haven't really paid attention.
WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
I did. So I think that's going to be another fun track.
And then obviously following that up with Porsche Cup from right where we are at the moment. Japanese circuit.
We've got Porsches here. We've got the V8s here. And the TCRs, and I'm a fan of Okayama. It's a great track. I just can't understand how these guys can drive an understeering front wheel drive car.
Okay, calm down. We need to get you in the Radical SR10 because if you can drive that for 20 laps, you'll be able to drive one of these, no problem. Anyway, moving right along. I think the real question that comes out of this is how long before we get Super Formula and iRacing. We're in Japan, talking about Okayama at this point in time. We've got to talk about the Japanese formula.
Well, I think also maybe you need to think of some Japanese tracks for the NASCAR trucks, because part of the reason some of these NASCAR tracks, these Japanese tracks were done is because the Japanese loved NASCAR and they tried to
Japanese
bring it
love
over.
everything American. They just love Americans because they've got baseball, they've got NFL, gridiron, basketball. They love it all. Anyway, moving on to our starting grid for round number 7. In the feature race, Daniel Fritz will earn his first pole position of the season off alongside of Bradley Wall, the fast-starting Team SRW Motorsports driver. He'll be looking to secure a nice finish here. Matty Gerard and Brad went toe-to-toe in that last race, which allowed Nathan Allen to skip away a little bit. He will be starting behind both of those guys from this one. The next girl of the grid will be made up by Nathan Allen's teammate Dylan DeBono on the Velocity Sim Sports entry and Deacon Gerlin. Gerlin will be looking for a strong finish from this one. Immediately behind him, Dad Paul will be hopefully trying to work together with Deacon. Adam Hughes from the Crisscross Racing entry snuck onto the podium at the last, and Riley Jones in that apparently doesn't turn Honda, that's apparently still quick somehow. Corey McFarlane, lights out, ladies and gentlemen. Away we go as we're still filing our way through the starting grid, and a whole bunch of great starts towards the front end of the field. It is going to be Daniel Fritz in the Whiskey Runners entry in the middle of the track. He gets squeezed out. We will fall wide on the run into turn number 1. Fritz gets squeezed wide. Pole position not converted to P1 off of the first corner. And it's Brad Wall who will lead us away from Matty Gerard as the field try and settle their way in. DeBono's jumped the teammate. A whole bunch of cars taking to the escape roads, and there's a Velocity Sim Labs car that is up alongside someone on the run down to the hairpin. I believe it was Nathan Allen and Adam Hughes. Hughes was forced to back out there. Indeed, it was both of those guys, and now Fritz has gone from first to 7th in a space of 3 or 4 quarters.
Corey McFarlane from 10th up to 6th. Riley Jones got caught out back there, and he didn't get through the pack. So it was Dylan and Corey McFarlane that were the big movers.
Riley Jones parks it down on the apex at the hairpin. He'll get one done. Randall Luapui will grab a spot and lose one at the same time around the outside. So Riley Jones finally gets back to P9, which is where he started this race. So he went backwards and has recovered in the second half of this race. Greg Johnson in the barrier! Out of the middle of the course, that's Piper in turn number 7. He's gone wide out and smashed that car into the barrier. He's managed to get away not too bad. He's back up to speed a little bit now. Back up the front of the pack. Things are starting to get really tight. Adam Hughes has grabbed a spot away from Nathan Allen, and now Corey McFarlane will be lining up. He's next in the queue. That'll be this little battle back, but it's going to be Brad Wall that leads us away from the front row of the grid. He grabs lap number 1 as a driver led, and now Adam Hughes sends it down the inside on Matty Gerard. Will Gerard be able to defend from the outside? No, he won't. Hughes gets the job done.
Corey McFarlane trying to sneak through there as well in the middle of that. So there's a fair bit going on out there. One thing we do have to mention tonight, guys, is admin was talking to me a bit earlier, and out there in Facebook and YouTube land.
Mind you, Nathan Allen has opted to take a big slide left and right back across the track. I think there was some lock brakes in the middle of all of that. Now he's in behind Matty Gerard, and he will be looking for a fast way through. Corey McFarlane's going to be pulling the draft along for both of these guys as Hughes has started to leap down the track, and DeBono's got past him now as well, starting to assault that rear bumper of Brad Wall. Brad Wall might lead one lap this season, but it's all he'll need to feel happy about himself. So it was a great start from Wall, and now DeBono is on the back of him and is assaulting him already, and Brad is cool as a cucumber.
Or Hughes might see a double.
Here we go!
Up here too.
DeBono hard on the acceleration, understeering wide again at Piper, where we saw Johnson off the course last lap. Now Hughesy will start to close in here, and Corey McFarlane's gone with these guys as well. So Brad Wall's holding the field up, little bit of a run wide, but has he got the momentum to slot back in? Yes, he does. DeBono's got to get through, because DeBono needs to clear these guys and start bolting for it.
Well, he was up the inside there, but he thought better of it, so now looking for the draft. Hughesy also sucked in there. It's going to be a 2-car draft. Hughesy might be the dark horse of the T1 here.
Well, Hughesy's going to try and fire it in the inside. Brad Wall will cover. That's going to potentially open up door, and Dylan DeBono will slam that one close. Hughesy not looking to have his nose chopped off, but now it's going to be DeBono back up the inside at turn number 2. And now, will he get down the outside? Here comes Susie McFarlane. McFarlane was on the brakes to make sure he didn't make contact with the rear bumper of Hughes. Is Hughes going to try and split the difference down the inside? McFarlane goes to the outside. They're now 2x2 through the sweeper, known as Atwood Curve on lap number 3. And Brad Wall has now led 2 of them. Now the Hornet's Nest has been summoned. De Bono moves to the inside at the same time as connection difficulties come across. Brad Wall will switch draft lanes and draft partners down the inside. De Bono into the hairpin once more. And Adam Hughes sniffs an opportunity. And McFarlane's got tagged in the rear as well.
What's all happening here, buddy? And guys out there in YouTube and Facebook land, if you are loving this action and you want to be a part of it, our registrations for Season 4 are open, and admin has advised me that we have 2 tickets that we can give away tonight. So if you want to get involved in the TCR series for Season 4, put your name in the YouTube or Facebook chats saying, I want a ticket, and we'll give out 2 of them tonight, buddy.
Yeah, that's it. We've got tickets to deliver, and boy, are these players putting on an action, because that is exactly what you're going to get. Remember, it's going to be coming to you from the Australian tracks: Sandown, Bathurst, Oran Park, and what are the other ones? Because I've been busy watching the racing action. Phillip Island,
Winton, Sandown,
and Winton. That's the other 2.
Okay, so no Phillip Island.
Phillip Island, no, Phillip Island will be in there for sure. Because it's twice around the block and it's 5 tracks. That much I do know. It's going to be 2 rounds from each of the tracks. And now here comes Riley Jones trying to show you what it's like to get a Honda TCR wrangled around Okayama Motorsports Park. Okayama International, they call it. Not Motorsport Park. International Circuit. The full course, the full layout allows these TCRs to really get wound up as they come down the back straight. Brad Wall going to pull out and have another crack down at Corey McFarlane. He's hung onto those spots for a fair while, and that's actually edged him out a long way over the chasing, hungry horde of Hornets. Dylan De Bono's skipped clear of Adam Hughes a little bit at the moment, so Hughes will try and set chase, and McFarlane now has the job all left in front of him. So the podium from race number 1 with Riley Jones missing and has been replaced by Dylan De Bono becomes your podium at the moment of race number 2.
Has it settled down? Can we take a breath yet?
No, absolutely
guys
not.
Are just sort of starting to set up their next run, put themselves in position to make a move down the straight. As we see each and every week, that toe can be quite powerful.
Let's talk about the 3 family members that are racing each other out at the moment. No, we don't mean 2 of the Sinkoviches get to... There's 2 of them on track and they have so many incidents we count as 3. No, we actually mean all 3 of the Gerlins, because these guys are all wrapped up next to each other on the track. That's the view from the rear bumper of Randall Luapui. You're looking back at Daniel Fritz, and then it's the trainer Gerlins with Paul, followed by Deacon, followed by Caleb. Family Boys going racing this week. They're enjoying it.
Well, that's right. Well, at the moment, Dad's got the mustard on the 2 whippersnappers. So they might have to fight a bit hard here and see if you get your elbows out and try and get up the inside of Deacon there, Caleb, or give him the push on to go after Dad. That's the way to do it, isn't it? You've got to gang up where you can.
Well, I mean, Paul came in and voiced what Deacon's thoughts about the race were last week. I would like Deacon to get down the inside and show Dad a little bit of what for and get that one back away from him. I don't like this running order. I want to see them up side by side a little bit longer.
Greg Leake looking to try and make a move up the inside of Caleb there. Has Greggy got it done?
Yes, he's got it done at the hairpin.
Yeah, he has. So that's a nice recovery there from Greg.
Look at that chromed up livery. Always the benefit about Leakey is you can spot his car a mile away.
One of the Team Greg machines, so they tend to make them shiny. And but it's good to see the boys out there, and as you've said before, Leakey's really enjoying racing in the TCRs. He wouldn't have been happy copping a drive-through in race number 1, but he'd be more unhappy about causing the incident rather than actually getting the penalty.
Well, he wanted to get the elbows out. Randall Luapui is going to be the first guy that's going to fire down into pit lane, so will be a fuel stop required to get through this race. That much is for sure. Tyres definitely not on the table. These guys would not be taking tyres at all. So Luapui is going to dive to pit lane. He was in the traffic and he wasn't getting anywhere within that traffic. The undercut is what he's looking for, and a little bit of free air. We'll see if he can make any use of that one. David Leslie may have been through pit lane as well.
Well, that is interesting because the issue here, we know that the tow can be quite beneficial, though if you're in a battle you lose time. So is clear air the way to go?
I don't know, Cowie. Is clear air the way to go?
Well, at the moment he's coming out behind Greg Johnson, so that might be a nice little tow there for Randall. And a battle that we've seen in race 1 will be once again happening.
If there is one car that Randall Luapui was hoping he put firmly in his rearview mirror, it was Greg Johnson. And now he's going to have to make his way back past him again. Greg is not going to make that one easy. There is a fired up Greg Johnson behind the wheel at the moment, Randall Luapui. Beware.
Oh, Hughesy. Yes, thanks, Jared, for your comment out there. Yeah, go Hughesy, running in P2 at the moment. Corey McFarlane up into P3 now. So we've got 3 quick guys out front there. Dylan so far settling in to lead the pack away. But it's not a short sprint like the last one. We are almost 10 minutes into our 30-minute feature tonight. All thanks to DSL Welding Services.
Oh, cars starting to try and file down into pit lane. There's somebody that's gone in from the lead pack. And update from race control was that there is actually not a served pit stop yet for David Leslie. That is because it's a jump start, because they've got a standing start. It's not an automatic starting process like you might have in some of the arcade races. You've got to time your jump. If you jump that start, you get a penalty. And that's what he's
he had a drive-through penalty.
No, it's a 40-second. It'll be a 40-second stop and hold.
No.
For a jump start. Yep. They are not lenient on them.
Well, that's iRacing, not race control. I suppose it's double jeopardy sometimes if you get it wrong. But Nathan's done well. He's kept well out in front of Randall and Greg. Battle back there. Looks like Randall didn't take too long to get that job done.
Oh, I'm glad Randall's got that job done. No offense meant to Greg Johnson. It's purely just, I know that Randall right now would not be in the best of spirits seeing that blue livery cast. But it's done. It's all over. It's done with. They don't have to tangle with each other once more. At the moment, Daniel Fritz and Deacon Gerlin going side by side in the middle of the circuit. Greg Leaks just grabbed a spot away from Paul Gerlin, I believe it is. But one of the Gerlins, yes, the Leaky's starting to really put some pressure on, and he's going to get checked up now as Deacon. No, that's Paul Gerlin's going to try and fire down the inside of Greg Leaks.
Happened to Paul there.
Will grab.
Happened to Paul because he was
that spot
right
back.
up to the one, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Daniel Fritz. So this is what Nathan Allen and the rest of them were trying to avoid, was getting caught in this battle pack. And I think Luapui had the same idea. And now Daniel Fritz is going to go too wide once again, and Paul Gerlin's going to be the one that jumps out of the train. So he is looking to get himself clear of these guys. He recognises how much time he is losing.
So I think that probably answered my question from before, buddy. So maybe the clear air is where you want to be. You know, if you're having to fight for track position, we just see it time and time again. The moment you start fighting with other cars, you just hemorrhage time.
Well, those leaders as well, ladies and gentlemen, that gap has maintained itself. It's been pretty consistent right the way through. That is Dylan DeBono, who's still leading the race. He's not quite clear of the draft, though, back to Corey McFarlane. Adam Hughes in the middle of that sandwich either. We'll be getting a nice big helping of air pulling mill. And have a look at Brad Wall. He's just gone with them. Yeah,
he's staying in contact. So do you think maybe Dylan's going to wait to see if the guys behind pit?
He's got to run the tank dry. He absolutely has to run the tank dry. Because...
Well, I get that lap to react, I suppose. And but yeah, I think if he pits early, then there's a chance that they run long and undercut him. Or overcut him, I should say.
I was going to say fuel. I think the extra fuel on board, cars run faster when there's less rate they're dragging around.
Yeah, well, they won't be changing tyres and these things, you wouldn't think.
No,
just be fuel and that stop.
The other thing will be is if those tyres have actually warmed up, and Adam Hughes just said, nice save, mate, to someone. I don't know who that was, whether that was DeBono, because he is a little bit closer to Dylan DeBono.
Oh, I'd say Dylan must have had a bit of a moment there.
So,
yeah, Sheepy AAA, good to see some great racing tonight. Yeah, look, it has been awesome. The TCRs just have been action-packed from round one. Look at it. This is the battle for first position.
Sheethy, enter the TCRs and come race for a free race next season. Talk to us now over there on the chat out there on YouTube land. We've got 2 free entries for next season. Are they one one series entry passes, or are they across the board, Cowie?
No, just for the TCR. So I'm sure that admin will have future tickets to give away for the other series on various nights of the broadcast. So I would stay tuned there, guys. But registration for season 4 has opened from today. So make sure you get in and reserve your spot. I know I'll be doing the V8 Supercars for sure. The Radicals are still on my agenda, my friend.
I was hoping that when you said V8 Supercars, you were going to be commentating the V8 Supercars.
I love racing them, mate. I love racing them. I will commentate them if I have to, but I love racing them. And you know, I'm running P2 in the Super 2 Championship at the moment. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch Matty Keane though. He keeps getting podiums against the Super 1 guys.
One time. It happened one time, Cowie.
Well, I got buffeted on the weekend, buddy. That was a hell of a race at Hungaroring. I think you know, 20 or was it 30 cars trying to fit into T1, and then T2, and then T3, and I got caught offline. It cost me quite a few spots. But we can see the battle here is still close. Only 0.7 of a second separating our top 3 cars, and we are just past the halfway point of our feature race for tonight, round 7 of our season 3 TCR series, all brought to you thanks to DSL Welding Services.
I will say a shout out to Sheepy out in the chat again, because he said, I only do sprint cars at the moment. Already signed up for that. Look, Sheepy, if you get a free ticket and a free entry to another league, I'm just saying, you can enter it. Who cares?
I thoroughly enjoyed the dirt last night. Last night's track was a lot better than the track the week before. I really struggled with that one. Still didn't finish. I took myself out actually last night. Did
you use the tips I gave you on the wing settings last night, Cowie?
Oh, I did actually. I had the car feeling really good, and I felt, it's just, I think I got 20 laps into the feature, and on one of the restarts, I tagged the wall of the rear. Didn't really do any damage there, but when I bounced off, I got on the gas on a slick bit and then threw it up into the wall proper. So, these things happen, mate, but it's good fun.
Well, at least you had an excuse for pulling out. You had a half excuse, and then you were like, nah, I've got to finish this off properly.
No, I'm really enjoying it. Like, some of those dirt sprint car guys that are racing in there are super quick, mate, and I can just pull it off time and time again. And then when the track starts getting old and they run up high and they're running inches from the wall, and you try to copy them, you're only a recipe from disaster away, mate. It's and it caught me out last night. That happens.
Well, pit stops continued onwards as that field starts to thin out. The guys who have and haven't pitted. Nathan Allen is the lead driver of all those drivers who have pitted and has managed to hang on to that one, although Randall Luapui is now within 2 seconds of him. So that gap is going to close and going to continue to close as we reach towards the end of this race as well. Looking, who's DD on the race list? That's got to be Deacon Girl. No, it's not. Is it DD or DG? Oh, it is. It is. It's still in DeBono. No, it's still in DeBono. I'm looking at the race lead battle on the track.
Well, and look at how close it is here, and you can see that these guys are. Is there much point fighting for this spot right now, or you're going to try and save your tyres and get it done when you've only got a few laps to go? So it almost seems like it's just a matter of staying close, though that doesn't mean they're not going to take an advantage of a mistake that you make. But can't see these guys trying too many sends just at the moment. Corey's too smart a racer for that. And Hughesy, well, he's probably just smart enough, isn't he?
Smart enough to tell me that he was racing TCR tonight and wasn't able to cover for me in the commentary box just in case I didn't come over.
That's right, yeah. No, I think this is his 3rd or 4th race of the season, came to the season late. But we love having you here, Uzi, and as long as we're gonna have to put your car on the camera, we're gonna hang some rubbish on you while we're at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Susie and I have a great relationship, just hanging 10 on each other, if to use a colloquial. Bradley Wall's slowly starting to be closed in on from behind now, as Riley Jones has actually edged out and away from Matty Gerard, so that gap has started to be closed in. But that lead pack has run off into the sunset for Riley Jones. I think...
Yeah, he got checked up at the start there, because when Corey and Dylan made their way through, I think Dylan might have carved a path and Corey saw it and followed him. And Riley got sort of caught on the outside, because I noticed at lap 1 he was still running 11th after lap 1. So he's done well to fight through to P5, but he gave up a lot of time in the process. Shows you how important that first lap can be.
Well, Dylan DeBona is actually starting to edge back out and away from Adam Hughes, and Hughes is getting closed in on by Corey McFarlane now. So this is critical. So Dylan DeBona is starting to really put the hammer down and see if he can't break this toe. His best option, I would say, from Dylan DeBona is to pit this lap and let these guys fight, because he will want these guys to really push hard and throw it at each other. Is potentially McFarlane's fuel saving a little bit? What's going to happen here on the run down to the final corner? Nope. They'll all continue on. They're all going to run this machine dry. None of them are going to look to go for the undercut on anyone else. Tyres going to start to play a factor in these cars as well. We're now 20 minutes into this race with 10 laps left to run, 10 minutes. So we will not get the distance in terms of laps number. We will hit 30 minutes before we hit 22 laps complete.
You've said before that the other problem that you have in the TCRs, because the front wheels are doing pretty much all the work, the moment you sit the front nose of the car up under the rear end of the car in front, and you start to get all that hot air, it just cooks those front tyres even more, and you use them up harder. So
McFarlane's... I just saw the gap. McFarlane is fuel saving, because I just saw they were close. It was right under Husey on the run there into the sweeper, into Atwood Curve.
That means less time in the pits, and maybe that's where he's going to get it done. So, but again, it's a matter of as long as it doesn't hurt the tyres too much. So, see,
look at that margin extend itself on the run down into the hairpin now, and he brakes late, gets right back up underneath there with the amount of mid-corner speed he's got. Oh, they're a beautiful thing to watch, aren't they, these TCRs?
Except for the fact that it's, you know, you turn
just
it 2.5 times and it only goes a little bit.
Just because the rear doesn't step out on you doesn't mean the racing isn't fantastic.
But when the car's going straight, you've still got the car pointing right. That just seems wrong to me.
It's called understeer, Kelly. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Well, it's the enemy when you drive a V8 supercar, buddy. That's all. It is the enemy for sure.
A whole bunch of weight on the nose. They don't weigh very much, so when you do put your foot down, all the weight just sinks back on the rear, which actually takes acceleration away. You got to be so... Look, you'd be a lot better at these if you knew what you were trying to do with them, I think. Well, Riley Jones has managed to snaffle away P number 4 because Brad Wall has opted to pit. Now, Brad Wall is now at the tail end of the lead lap, so I think he must have taken tyres, because he's come out behind Greg Johnson. Now, Greg Johnson hasn't pit yet, but Fritz, Caleb Gerlin, Paul Gerlin, Deacon Gerlin, Luapui and Allen have all gone through on him. Yeah,
Bradley Wall, David Leslie both have stops over a minute. So that's an extra 26 seconds.
That's tyres.
Whereas the other guys are in the sort of high 30s to low 40s for their pit stops. So, yeah, I think you're right. There's tyres there. So,
oh, hang on. Adam Hughes just got passed by Corey McFarlane, who's just now sent it down into the hairpin. So that is now job done for Corey McFarlane. One of the two of them. So he is either hit his fuel number, and now he's gone, you know what? It's time to get on it. Time to get out of here. He's cleared Hughesy, and he's going to try and set sail on him real quick and look at the gap open up.
Well, this might force Dylan's hand, but we're going to have a quick look to see where he got the done. I think he's just got a superior run and got that toe. And, yep, he's just sent it. Oh, look, he's got that done before the corner. Hughesy gave it up. Pretty much, he knew it was going to happen. So Hughesy was trying to get back and do the crisscross. But, you know, classy move.
Yeah, and I think that means that Hughesy might be setting his sights on... He may be able to beat DeBono, but he's not going to beat McFarlane.
And Sheepy, that's why I keep asking Rattle Gun all the questions on the TCRs. You got yourself up on a world record leaderboard in one of these things, didn't you?
Me? Yeah. Just for the Veloster, the Hyundai Veloster. That's okay. It was only around Fuji. I haven't found any pace ever since then. Actually, I was reasonably quick at Road Atlanta as well. I love that track. I can't wait to go back and go racing there again in the near future. That's a banger.
Well, it's all Aussie tracks for our Season 4 coming up, mate. So how do you think the F3s are going to handle Bathurst?
They're going to bottom out. I reckon they're going to get wind damage going down the inside at Dipper.
You've seen that. Was it the David Coulthard lap, was it?
No. You're thinking of... I know who you're talking about. Rubens Barrichello?
It was Barrichello.
No, it wasn't Coulthard. It wasn't Coulthard.
Jensen
Button. It was Jensen Button. Yep.
Yeah, Jensen Button Formula 1 lap. Was that on minute 51 or something like that? No, it wasn't that. Was it minute 51, something like that? Because I know they were Webber was talking about trying to get under 150 there. So, that will be crazy, and but I mean, TCRs at Bathurst, Porsches at Bathurst.
Well, the Porsches at Bathurst is fantastic.
Yeah.
The TCRs is going to be tricky to keep them out of the fence across the top. You're not going to be able to touch that throttle at all, and they're going to drive more like a NASCAR as the stint wears on, because those tyres are going to get quite loaded up and across the top of the mountain, so you're going to have to lift.
We're coming within the last 5 minutes here. Do you think that this time has meant these guys can actually make it home if they've saved a bit of fuel?
Is there? No. I mean,
there's 5 out there that still haven't pitted.
At this rate, Dean Sinkovic is going to finish 6th.
I mean, if it meant that you couldn't get home and you're going to take a rear grid for the next race, would you stay out there?
Dean Sinkovic, I'd do it in a heartbeat, because he's going to be at the rear of the grid for the next race anyway. Have a look at the weaving games going on in the background as Randall Luapui, I think it is,
nice
defending.
Battle. And he's got Nathan Allen, Matty Gerard, Deacon, Paul, and Caleb all joining this fun.
I think...
Okay, so
not happy about toe braking down the front straight. So that's going to spice things up a little bit more. Luapui's not had a great race in the steward's eyes. Well, I mean, this one's been good.
It is in the rule book not to do any weaving down the straights, but
it was one move and the return.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. We leave it to race control to make those decisions. They're the ones that determine that.
Oh, but you're a pundit, Cowie. You get to make these comments. That's the fun of being in the booth.
I know I do, but I also get to pass the buck as well, man. So,
at the end of it, you sit back and go, here's how I view it. Here's how the spectators might see it from the camera views that we have available to us. But we're not... That means nothing because we don't have any impact on the outcome.
Well, also... Yeah, you're right, buddy. We're not looking at all the angles, whereas race control's trying to have a look at those angles. I know that I had one the other night. One of my teammates got pinged for a contact in the V8 race, and when we looked at it close, you can see that the cars actually don't touch. It was netcode. But, given the fact given the fact that he was likely to have made contact in any case, even though they didn't actually touch, it is one of those things when sometimes you can overanalyze things, and it's not an easy job, race control, and but there's a fair bit of trust from the drivers that race control's on top of it, and that way we can race hard, and we know there's generally no intent, but but some people are fighting harder from the W than others are.
It's not that there's not intent. The fact is that why do we have race control? Why do we have rules to go racing? Well, it's the same as what constitutes a goal in soccer? What constitutes a try in rugby league?
Yeah.
What is a ruck? What are the rules surrounding how you can approach a ruck? Without those rules, I can just turn around, reverse back over the start-finish line and drive back over it again and say that I've completed a lap.
I mean, look, in the end, I always say that 99%
of
the walls
they can't make it. They can't make it. The leaders have blinked. The leaders have blinked, and it's De Bono and McFarlane who'll come into pit lane.
Oh, contact!
Contact on pit lane entry, which means that by going one extra lap, Adam Hughes has gained a huge advantage, and Riley Jones barely will skim through here, and De Bono has lost 2 spots. That'll be 3 spots.
And a possible penalty there for not holding brakes as
He's
Riley
got to
was
clear the
coming through
lane.
too, so.
He's got to clear the lane, though. You can't just stay parked across the lane.
Well, it'll be another one, interesting one for race control. Have a look at. I wonder if Dylan came in too hot into the pit bay and he's made contact with the inside wall.
Well, the line for the pit lane speed limit isn't until the cone, right at the pit lane entry. So we're still live here. That line means nothing. This next line means nothing.
Oh, no, that's a bump. Is that a bump?
It's the cones. The cones are down the track yet. We haven't anywhere got near them. So the pit lane... Oh!
So I wonder if Dylan...
And Jones has smashed the wall
there.
out of that.
Yeah, what if Dylan got bumped by Corey then? That's going to be interesting, mate. There's a fair
no
bit
way he did
happening
that on
into
his
that.
own. There's no way he did that on his own. Go on board if we can.
Riley's
here,
come through. This is when Riley's come through and he's gone, oh shit. And, yeah.
Yeah, I told you he did grab the wall, but it's still better than... I mean, you still got to go as hard as you can.
Did Riley use his first... no, he's used the fast repair.
That's his first fast repair.
Yeah,
He's been
so
fine.
he
He's
should
had a
be
great
okay.
run through the field.
But I'm interested, you know...
You know what?
Have a
Dylan
look on board.
DeBono has rejoined in 6th spot immediately behind Randall Luapui. So we'll try and grab an onboard shot of what that looks like from a few of these drivers. But Farland might be amongst those because that's how race control probably going to break that one down. Where was he expected to break? When did he break? Anyway, they're involved in it. Dylan DeBono's behind.
Okay, so a warning has been handled out to Randall Luapui for weaving, so not to do that anymore. Yeah, look, this could be, yeah, so we'll get on board with Corey McFarlane, are we?
So this is the entry to pit lane and the incident we've just seen, and they've got to get slowed down, and he's on the brakes, and he's not trying to bump him. He really isn't from Corey McFarlane, but he's trying to get as hard up and in against his rear bumper as you possibly can. There's no intent there.
Yeah, may well just be considered a racing incident.
And now something's happened between with Matty Gerard and someone else as well. It might be Nathan Allen. Because those two are racing each other. It could be Paul Gerlin, who was the next car in the queue.
Okay, who's that? Isaac out there, you need to clear the lane, but you need to do it safety, thinking that maybe there'll be a penalty coming on there. Well, we'll have to see what race control has got to say. They did jump on the chat then before, so I'm just going to have a look in that
They're investigating it, that is for sure, and this is really going to tell us what's happened to Matty Gerard. So it's actually Deacon Gerlin, not as we thought it might have been Nathan or Paul that were involved in that one. So... And he's redressed it straight away. No, that's Caleb Gerlin. Matty Gerard's down the road. Deacon's rejoining there. So, there we go.
Well, it's been pretty chaotic out there. We better go back to live, though, Toddy, because we're coming near the end of this race. And, yeah, look at that. That is... This is...
He's made
coming
it!
over.
No, he did. He stopped the nenext lap. He stopped the next lap afterwards, but they only went one more lap for Adam Hughes, which was
so
enough
that was
to get him
close.
home. So Corey
They were close to
McFarlane
getting home. Wow.
will come home with a big black cloud hanging over him about that incident with Dylan DeBono. And I tell you what, DeBono's found himself in some unlucky situations right throughout the season. Across multiple seasons, been very unlucky, but he tends to be an unlucky race car driver. He comes home and P number 5 won't get around Randall Luapui, so Luapui will get back to P4 from 11th on the grid. That's a phenomenal drive from Randall Luapui to get himself back up into the final results there. And Nathan Allen behind his teammate Dylan DeBono. And DeBono will know there that's a bag of points that's gone missing. If he needed to get back and get in front of Riley Jones in the championship, that was how he's going to do it. But race over and Jones comes home on the podium.
Well, it's going to be interesting. We might have to keep an ear out for race control. I'd say we'll be getting Corey into the broadcast with a
guarantee
at the end, but
he'll just say, I wasn't expecting him to check out that much.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to assign any blame. It looked like close, hard running and maybe...
Oh, no, we don't have to talk to Adam Hughes, do we? Oh no!
Race control were just mentioning something. I think they're going to have a chat about it. So we'll have to keep an eye on what's happening there. But wow, it's TCRs. They never fail to disappoint to bring the action, do they?
No. Well, results with a cloud over the final results. We'll say them as unofficial. This is the timing as they crossed the line and they broke the timing beams, but it's got nothing to do with what your finalised results may look like here tonight. The one thing we do know is that Adam Hughes has run a clean race, so he will come home in P number 1. Riley Jones, at the moment, P number 3, may move up a spot. We've got no confirmation on what will happen from there. So there's 2 cars that have failed to complete their cooldown lap or receive rear grip penalties.
Paul Gerlin on the radio saying he might. Oh, there's an incident coming into the pits as well. Oh my god. But,
yeah, but
someone was there was asking for a tow.
It may have been a car that was out of fuel after Atwood Curve. It was whoever finished in P10. It was Deacon Gerlin, so he's actually asking on the radio for Deacon.
Oh, that is going to mean that Deacon's probably going to have a rear grid next race. If he can't make it back.
Well, Paulie Gerlin showed good pace yet again. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with P7 because he had the pace to be a little bit further up. Qualifying was P4.
He just come on the radio there to say that was hard work, that second half of that race. So there was a fair bit of action in that sort of mid to the back pack there, and boys racing hard and not willing to give up any bit of real estate.
I love reverse grid racing, Cowie, because
it's awesome.
You've got to be brave, but you've also got to be sensible. It requires the most amount of skill, I think, of any format of racing, because you can't just be aggressive and get away with it in reverse grid racing.
Oh, I was going to say the figure 8 racing where they cross in front of each other.
Okay.
You know, that'd probably be the scariest, but you know. But that's the old demolition days as a kid. Love watching that stuff.
Moving right along to our podium celebrations. Current series leader and moving ahead has picked up a bag of points on the competition yet again. It is Mr. Riley Jones. Riley, that looked like probably the most scary pit lane entry you've had this season.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think, yeah, I don't know if Dylan didn't know where the stop sign was, but he sort of backed into me a little bit, caught me up. Lucky I sort of made it through, and yeah, got that fast repair. That was sort of the defining moment, I think, that got me the podium.
Well, when you see a car parked across the lane like that, he's got to clear it. You know that when you're coming around there. Talk us through. We've got the pit lane entry actually up on board at the moment. Go right ahead. Talk us through it.
Oh, mate, yeah, you're coming in, and he sort of, I saw he stopped, so, and you got that plenty of room on the right-hand side there, so I thought, oh, yeah, I'll back in, and yeah, I think he just, you know, in the moment, you get a bit anxious, and you just put it in reverse. Luckily, I was sort of just past him enough that when he pit me, I just hit the wall into pit lane, and just, yeah, got that fast repair, and off I went.
Yep, so no harm, no foul, it will play on.
So, Riley, were you watching the clock there, mate, waiting to see if it was going to tick over for that extra lap? Because you pitted on lap 20. Was there a sneaky chance you were going to get home without a stop?
Oh, yeah, I reckon, you know, I wasn't sure. Like, when we were getting closer, I was getting told, you know, you got five laps of fuel and 5 minutes left of fuel, and there's 5 minutes left in the race. I'm like, yeah, but that's just to the end of time. So I was like, we all have to pit, you know, to get home. So even Hughesy sort of pushed that last lap. Obviously, you got a bit of fuel saving probably behind Dylan there for most of the race. And yeah, I got held up at the start, and I knew I had to push for it. And yeah, luckily I come through.
That, you know, rear grid for you for next race is not on the cards because you didn't find the same path that Dylan and Corey found.
Yeah, no, I just. Yeah, I was sort of these reverse grid races. I tell you what, they bring the best out in in everyone, and I think, you know, I had Nathan, he sort of, you know, he's getting quicker and held me up a little bit, and I knew I had to get around him clean, and that's probably the biggest thing, especially in this track. The track was hot. Like, I think I got a notification it was 39 degrees at one point, and I'm like, wow, that's getting hot. You know, a lot of pressure on the tyres, so to get around cleanly was a hard task, I reckon.
Well, mate, it's been an honour. That's what we were saying here in the combox just a few minutes ago as well. It's you got to set yourself up for success in a reverse grid race, and it looked like you did as well there, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Riley Jones, driver the number 99 for Man Up Sim Racing, and the sponsors that make it possible for Riley are.
Yeah, thanks, Scott and Cowie. Yeah, obviously, Man Up. Paul and the boys always get behind me every week, and we're going well. The whole team's going well, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Oakcrest Electrical, RPJ Transport, Fast First Aid, yeah, and the commentary team and you boys. Thanks for putting on a good show.
Anytime, mate. Anytime. You're welcome up here anytime. Every week. We'll book you in for an interview next week again, shall we?
Oh, I bloody hope so.
Have a lovely Wednesday night, Riley. Have a great one, mate.
You too, guys. Have a good one.
Moving right along to second place will be Corey McFarlane. Corey, we're going to be talking about, I think, pit lane entry. I don't think there's any way to get out of talking about pit lane entry. He just checked up a little bit more than you were expecting on the way in.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was brake checking me or he thought that was the pit line, but the actual pit lane line was another 100 or so meters down the road, so I was, not expecting him to stand on the brakes that hard, so didn't really have anywhere to go.
He still just barely made contact with the rear bumper there of Dylan Bono as well. I mean, you were reaching out to say, sorry, mate, look, pit lane entry's a little bit further down the road. There's no intent in it whatsoever.
Yeah, no, shit happens. I mean, I'm not really fussed. It was good fun. Trying to get through the top 10 back to the front, and had a good race, and big congrats Adam on the win as well.
Well, it sort of seemed like you followed Dylan through there at the start there, so did he just carve a bit of a path that you're able to take advantage of?
Yeah, it's in those first few laps to just send it to where there's not a car there and hope that they don't move into the space. A lot of it's luck choosing the right line, and unfortunately could have been up the front a bit quicker, but stayed out of trouble, so that's pretty much all that matters.
Well, mate, I got you on the podium, so it worked.
Yeah.
When it works, mate. Reverse grid's tricky, technical, and then you throw in a hot track and overloaded front tyres. It looked like he might have been saving a little bit of fuel, a little bit of tyre, just sitting him. You're happy to follow Dylan and Adam there for a fair chunk of the race. You're just trying to conserve and present yourself with the best opportunity at the end, yeah?
Yeah, I think someone said over the radio at the start it was going to be tight on fuel, so I didn't really know what to expect. And then when I saw the amount of laps worth of fuel left and how long was left, I was a bit concerned. So noticed Adam was fuel saving, so I was happy to just sit in there, and felt like I had a lot more pace towards the end because the tyres kept on it. But just not much you can really do.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Corey McFarlane, driver of the 94 from Send It Sim Sports. And Corey, the sponsors are?
Send It Sim Sports, PPS, AJ Insurance. Big thanks to everyone at Send It Sim Sports. Had a in-team race last night, and it's just so much fun to mess around with them and do these races. And big thanks to you guys at SLW for racing and putting on the streams as well.
Thanks very much, mate. We'll get chatting to you again, I'm sure, later on in the week, because it's always up the front end of action for you, mate. So thanks once again.
Thank you.
And finally, I'm dreading this one, Cal. Do you want to do the... I'll just walk out. I'll leave the commentary box. I don't think that I want to say Adam Hughes race winner. That's dirty language.
How you going?
Look, I'll swap you. Next week I'm in the car, you're in the com box.
I reckon we can come to some sort of agreement or arrangement, mate. I'm happy to work halfway with you.
Look, if that's the case, are you going to throw as much flack back on me as I do when you're in the car?
Oh yeah, mate. I'm just going to pay out big time.
Mate, talk to us a little bit about your race tonight. At one stage, you sort of just... Corey McFarlane got up to you, you just went, yeah, no, I'm not going to fight this. I'm just going to back it down, try and hang on to the fuel, hang on to the tyres. You went a lap longer than everyone else, and it was probably the best thing that happened was not pitting at the same time as the other two.
Yeah, the start of the race was good. The second race, that is, happy with the result with the first race, but the second race I got a pretty good start. I think I got past 3 or 4 cars by turn 2, and then I think it was just myself, Dylan, and then obviously Corey had mega pace. So credit to him, he just crept up to the back of us, and I thought, I'll just fuel save, I know the Honda's sort of a bit down on power. So I just thought, you know what, if Corey gets past, he gets past, and that's fine. I was happy to consolidate third, worst case, and try and aim for second, because I thought maybe I had the same pace as Dylan. But yeah, it worked out in the end, saving a bit more than the other two and going a lap later. So, because I didn't realise what happened until I looked at the replay and realised, yeah, they sort of locked the pit entry.
Talk to us a little bit about, that's probably one of the first few times that you've actually had the opportunity to race against Brad Wall. That looked awesome. It looked like Brad was having a whole bunch of fun there at the opening few laps of that, and he hung on well.
Yeah, no, Brad had a lot more pace than I anticipated. Like, it was a mega race between him and I for, I think, the lap or so we were battling. Like, he's an ex-teammate of mine, of course, so I was going to give him the extra room, so I wasn't going to
No, just send it on Brad. Just nudge him out of the way, mate, next time. Don't even worry.
Nah, I can't do it to poor old Braddy. It was good, yeah, it was a good lap of race, and it was awesome. Like, gave me plenty of room in the outside and vice versa. It was, yeah, it's just mega, absolutely great fun with him. So, yeah, it was... If you're listening, Brad, that was awesome, mate. Really appreciate it.
Brad, he's talking. Don't listen to him, Brad. You were the best driver out there tonight. Don't know how Brad didn't walk away with the win. Anyway, moving right along. There are different formula of these TCRs. I actually asked you to come in official racing with a few of us a couple of weeks back, and you went, "Oh, yeah, TCR sounds fun, but not official racing. But this SRW stuff, that's where it's at."
Yeah, you sort of sucked me in, actually, so you can actually blame yourself. You're the reason why I'm racing these things.
Oh, God. Cowie, take the interview. No, Cowie, take it away. I'm done. I can't handle it.
You cannot hide from this, Scotty, so you're going to face your peers, mate. Adam Hughes race winner, mate, so I know you can choke on it all you want.
Mate, I'm actually surprised. It hasn't got a Porsche badge on the front. You still managed to hang on to it.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, it should have been Dylan or Corey for the win, mate. Like, seriously, I'll eat me humble pie because I was happy with third or second. But yeah, just got lucky. That's all it was. No, wasn't fast. I wasn't as quick as them. I was definitely slower than I think both of them. Definitely Corey for sure. And I think a touch slower than Dill. So yeah, I just got super lucky, mate. That's all it's down to be honest. So yeah, it was a good race between the three of us. Great fun. They were clean about it. They weren't sort of being rough about it, and Corey was good as well. So yeah, look, I'll eat me humble pie, mate. So I'll take a win. But yeah,
hang on, Adam. I've got news for you. Oh, yeah. Every time I look at it and every time I read it, it's just going to hurt me even more and more. Fastest lap of the race, Adam Hughes. Winner, Adam Hughes. Laps led 3, but that's okay. They were the 3 important ones.
That's all that matters, mate. That's all that matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, driver of the number 95, Adam Hughes for Crisscross Racing. Adam, I swear to God, make it funny.
Look, massive thanks to Toddy. I know he doesn't talk in the interviews and the races. I know he's doing the background work, so massive shout out to Toddy. Obviously yourself, Cowie. Yeah, you're in here every week doing your thing, so big fan of your work there, Cowie. Except for you, Scotty, you get nothing from me. All the viewers. Obviously, big shout out to Smoke Studios, AE Boards, Poolmaster Bayside, Jennifer Russell Real Estate, obviously Crisscross Racing and Stefan. Obviously, both Stefan and Greg Barber doing race control tonight as well, and a massive shout out to Palmerston Bakery. And I'm lying, I am thankful for you as well, Scotty, but not as much as Cowie.
Well, just know that Greg's put a comment up in the broadcast chat saying that maybe race control should have stepped in, to stop you from getting your win. But
I agree. Your teammates are 100% right there. Don't worry about it. Ladies and gentlemen, driver the 95, tonight's TCR winner. It's Adam Hughes. He's had a blast with it. He's had a ball, and God damn it, he'll be back next week.
Cheers, boys.
Righto, we're going to cut to a quick break because the qualifying's already underway from Interlagos for the Formula 3s. We're going to jump over there in just a few moments. In the meantime, keep your eyes peeled to the screen for a quick ad break. We'll be back, guys.
Give it a couple bit longer. I don't think so. It's got
No.
able to stretch out myself.
Mate, the team. Intermission now complete. We rejoin you with qualifying already underway for Formula 3. Corey McFarlane jumps out of a TCR and immediately jumps onto the front row of the Formula 3. This is Interlagos, home of the Brazilian Grand Prix, home of some phenomenal races over the years and races of just fine championship attempts for Formula 1 race car drivers. Tonight, the Formula 3 field will get their opportunities to show everyone the medal that they're capable of. Once again, Scotty, Toddy, and Cowie behind the booth to bring you all the action. Qualifying half over. What have you noticed so far there, Cowbell?
Cars look shiny.
Well done.
Nah, this is a
Well
great
done.
track, mate. I love this track. So, Interlagos, another favourite of mine. I do love it in the V8 supercar. Have absolutely no idea how to take it in an F3, but it is on the Formula 1 calendar, so it is at least partly designed for these sort of cars, so we should see some great action. We'll see
Mate.
how brave some of these boys are, how much curb they use, and how much you can stick into it down here. What's this, T4, T5?
Oh, all of them. Yeah, they're all just fantastic. Interlagos means between lakes. Go figure. Interlagos? Yeah, you see how that works?
Well, it's a great track, so I think, you know, this is one of those places where they're actually meant to build it somewhere else, you know, but yeah, it was actually renamed to honour José Carlos Pace when he, after he died in a plane crash in 1997, so he was the Brazilian F1 driver at the time. But yeah, Interlagos, I love this place, mate. Elevation changes, nice sweeping corners, big long straight, big heavy braking areas. It's got everything you want in a racetrack.
All the go fasty bits with the twisty bits and the brakey bits and the...
With the slow downy bits, yep, that's it.
Yeah, all the good ones.
But I don't know if you could really describe that track as looking like anything in particular. That does, yeah.
It's a big bowl. There's a big bowl at the bottom. It's like a kettle. An iron, maybe?
It looks interesting on a map, but I must say, it's the elevation changes and all that, sweeping down here through T1, T2, T3, and then that big, fast left-hander at T4. In the supercar, the off-track is a possibility every single time you come down here. I wonder how much these guys get out of it. Oh, so they've got to drop right back to third.
Stick it all the way in. Car parked up on the outside there. Carl Pickering's just about to finish a lap. Wade Reynolds at the tail end of one. Bernie Hudson. So a whole bunch of guys in progress in terms of laps. And the format will change for the Formula 3s as well, ladies and gentlemen. 45-minute race distance for this race, which means our qualifying will run past that 15 minutes. You've got to be on a lap when the session ends.
Well, I think our hand's been forced tonight because there's an scheduled maintenance tonight, I think. That's shortened us because I think we were going to do a sprint round tonight, wasn't there supposed to be one? Not sure.
No idea. I don't know.
Well, you can see there, I like to see the fact that even the F3s, you can go right out wide there and use all of the track on entry there. Again, this is a place where the supercars love it around here, as you can take a few of those curves, especially going down through the windy section through T1.
The twisty bits.
But these twisty bits, sorry to use your technical term there, Scotty.
Well, it's actually the Center S's, turn 1, 2, 3.
Yep, okay, Center S's. Oh, yeah, here we go. Another favourite son of Brazil.
Yep, and then into Curva de Sols, they'll flick back left. That's car on screens in the middle of it at the moment.
Well, the other thing about Sao Paulo too is it actually held one of my favourite concerts I've ever seen on video, which is the Monsters of Rock. But they used to hold that at Sao Paulo every year.
Red Aposta, they've just come off. There's that straight they've just finished into the Descida del Lago, or I'm assuming that's where one of the lakes is, and then we'll climb back up the hill to turn 6 and 7, I believe, because that's not where the labelling is on the map that I'm looking at.
Maybe they should funnel a bit more of those waters and maybe turn this into more like a golf course, where it's got water hazards.
No! Are you kidding? Pinheiro here on a left-hander that we just climbed out of and back up there. This is one of my... What did I just say to you? They need to host a 24-hour track here. Turn 10. The right-hander.
That would be sacred. So you're saying that would be sacrilegious?
Sacrilegious. That is basically walking up to me in the middle of the Middle Ages and calling me an infidel.
Call the Inquisition on me all you want, buddy, but we need to watch the F3s. And at the moment, you've literally said blasphemy in front of my church whilst pointing at my God. Not quite, buddy. Not quite. I love this place myself.
It's a great racetrack, yeah.
It is, and it's great to see that it's still on the calendar. I know that sort of in the previous iterations, the Formula One cars sort of struggled to pass around here, but the newer cars, mate, they're being able to follow each other a lot closer, and it's been awesome action. So, hopefully we get more of the same tonight with the F3s.
Well, it's got a lot to do with the fact that Mercedes battery runs out before the end of the straight.
Yeah.
That's the important part. Right, so 45 minutes distance. McFarlane's managed to go to the top end of town. Loretti, the Kittens boys, way back up there yet again. But Troy Dooley, have a look at him. He's jumped into P3. Byrne back in P4. Darren Fay, P5. Lydon, P6. Reynolds, Verney, Hudson. Sinkovic makes it into a 10 on pace. Pickering, Johnston, Thomas and Sinkovic. And I think that is our field with race control, the other two drivers in the session. Indeed is.
It's good to see. Unfortunately, I think Darren has been a bit quiet this week. I haven't got any dirt on the Kitten boys for this week. I will just check my Discord before I, he comes on the radio and says, Cowie, I did give you dirt. I'll just check to make sure. Oh, hang on, I got a little bit of dirt from someone here. So here we go. We're saying 31 to 32 lap race. So this is Raddy, cool, giving me some info here. Total race fuel about 40 litres. So they reckons might be a late pit stop. Probably won't need tyres, but they might be a bit devilish at the end. So
it is a high load circuit. Yeah, that does make sense.
But also saying that although the fuel is limited to 40 litres in the tank at the start, there is actually no limit on the fuel. So you may well see the Nathan Verney's of the world decide to pit on lap 2 again, get out of the chase and run to the end.
Right, we'll see if that does end up being the case. Qualifying, 45 seconds left. A whole bunch of drivers in the final sector are about to finish and start a new lap, so we will get more laps in from a whole host of people. Who is going to jump up to an early advantage? Who's going to try and topple Corey McFarlane at the top of that leaderboard? The tyres may have now fallen off the cliff. They may not have enough left on them to perform, but that fuel is low and somebody will be looking.
Well, he must have been practicing in the F3 while he was talking at that driver interview, mate. Because he's jumped straight in and on the pace. Maybe we should try and get him into chatting during the race if he's going to do that. Talk while practice.
Yeah. I mean, he's clearly practiced. He's got talent. What more do you need?
So, how much Laguna Seca practice have you done for tomorrow night, Mr.
Laguna
Rattlegun?
Water?
Yeah.
Wait. Did you say driving? Oh, I don't do that.
I practiced V8, so I did a bit of Okayama practice today.
I've been waiting on my my I rating actually, so I've gotten to 3k on road and 3.1k on oval, so I'm tracking down 10k overall I rating. So practice has sort of been second fiddle.
I'm trying to get back to 2k, but I'm only racing the V8s at the moment for the officials. And all of us are about the same bloody pace, so we keep taking points off each other each week.
Anyway, qualifying now coming to its conclusion. Drivers that are on a lap, so 13th, whoever that was in the background. I think it might have actually been Bernie. So it's Darren Fay, we're being reliably informed. His Kittensmobile, whose qualifying attempt will now be done. There's a few drivers that are now done and pulling out of the way, letting guys on fast laps have a crack. Corey McFarlane's in the last sector. There is a car going slowly, which is Troy Dooley, so he may still be on a lap. Slow car down the inside there. We're going to try and not give anyone the advantage. Qualifying about to come to its conclusion. Who's going to get there? Is anyone going to topple the Corey McFarlane pace machine? The answer is going
jump up into P2 then?
No, Loretti's been in P2 a fair while, so it's Troy Dooley that will go into P3 and stay there.
Troy had a great race in the V8s on the weekend. I think he finished inside the top 10 and was at second, I think, in the Super 2 standings. So, having a good purple patch this week, Troy. Great to see you put it up on the second row for the race tonight. That's awesome stuff.
It's awesome when it works out like that, isn't it? Right, so we move from qualifying into our grid here in just a few moments. Qualifying has now concluded. There is no one on a lap there. Sorry, my apologies. Troy Dooley, the only driver still left on a lap who's trying to get that lap in and completed. No, he'll practice a pit lane entry. So qualifying to run and done, ladies and gents. Or ladies and ents. It depends if you're a mythical tree folk. Corey McFarlane's going to take out pole position from the Formula 3 tonight with a 1:27.641 by the looks of that. Adrian Loretti from Kittens Racing will line up alongside of him. Hi, Mum and Dad. Hope you're still watching. Troy Dooley from row number 2 and Daniel Byrne will line up alongside of him. Andrew Lydon and Darren Fahey round out a Kittens Racing third row on the grid. Ray Reynolds and Brad Hudson will JWN lock out that fourth row of the grid. Nathan Verney and Samuel Thomas. Before it'll be Dean and Steven Sinkovich alongside of each other. Watch that. That will be a lightning start, something to keep your eyes on. Greg Johnson, Carl Pickering in reverse order. So Carl Pickering, then Greg Johnson. And finally, your safety car drivers of Stefan McCartan and Greg Barber. Round out your field, ladies and ents.
14 cars out there, so that's more than enough for a car that brakes when you look at it. They'll be trying to go 2 and 3 wide, but you'll need to leave a kitchen sink worth of space because you don't want contact early. We see what happens. It throws you right to the back, and I think they've only got one fast repair tonight. But Interlagos, a fast track, and you can see here an interesting look where you're actually starting on an uphill. Will that affect things, or just give them even more drive?
Oh, who knows? I'm not an expert in these things, Cal. You've asked the wrong person.
Well, I know the radicals tend to struggle when the car's not flat. So it'll be interesting. We'll keep an eye out. There might be a few smoke signals.
There's a bowl too, isn't there?
Well, there is too. That's right.
because of the way that it is all laid out. So
But cold tyres and that quick change of direction going through the centre S's, I think we're going to be on for a cracker again, buddy.
yep, I think we are indeed on for a cracker. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to get the green flag. Lights are going to start coming on for the drivers. Watch them go from left to right. When they go out, we'll be racing. And to quote the great Murray Walker, it's go, 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 as it's light out and off we go on the run down to turn number 1. McFarlane will hang on to it, tries to come across and cover off Adrian Loretti, does so successfully. Julie's lost a spot now to Daniel Vernon, who'll try and pick his way through, and Leiden and Fahey get a nice clean getaway. Nathan Verney's had a reasonable running
Andrew
start.
Leiden in the rear of that car.
In the weeds, and he's managed to just barely hang on to it, and hang on with his
He
line.
almost had contact there with Steven Singovich, I think, but Adrian did well there, but the rear of that car not happy at the start of that race.
No, so they'll settle themselves down and get themselves into the second sector now of the lap as they run up the hill to turn 6 and 7. And look at them fan out. Everyone's looking for a little bit of space to be able to slot themselves down and in. Who's going to manage to do so? McFarlane leads from Loretti, who's gone with him. Burns slotted up a whole bunch of spots. Troy Dooley has dropped 2 spots on this opening lap, so it's not been a successful opening lap for Troy Dooley. We'll see if they can still settle themselves down and in. There's a car way off in the leads. Who was that?
It was a nice move from, Darren Fahey. Oh no. He picked up a bit of damage there. Looks like that rear wing is a bit bent. And he's just testing the rear to see if it's going to play ball.
So he
a long
more
way back.
than likely will be coming back down for a fast repair because...
So a couple of the Kittens machines in the wars on lap 1, buddy. So Andrew Leiden and Darren Fahey. Well, let's have a look and see. Is he going in? Yep, he's going in. So something's broken on that car and it's not worth driving it. It's going to give away time. Well, as we said, he can get away with this, buddy. He can jump in, put enough fuel to get to the end and make it his only pit stop. We did say tyres are probably going to be an issue. And although they're not going to change them, because it just takes too long to get them up to speed, sometimes just that cool down period in the pits gives a bit of life back to the tyres, lets them cool down.
But it's so early.
Yeah, so he'll have to run that right to the end now. Going back to the front, Corey McFarlane, he's managed to stay clear. Adrian already, that was a good start from Adrian, and Corey really had to come over to cover him. So that was a good bit of driving at the start there by Corey, and did sort of park the car right in front of Adrian, who looked like he might have made a move into T1 there.
Yeah, he was thinking about it. Was Adrian Loretti. Now Loretti's going to try and struggle to hang with him through this tough and tricky middle sector of the lap. Daniel Berners jumped ahead of Troy Dooley on that opening lap, and Faye was, I believe, ahead of Troy Dooley as well before, unfortunately, his incident. But he is back out there. He is still running in terms of Darren Fahey, but he's got a long way to come back up through because he was the last car when he made his way into pit lane. So
it's going to be a lonely race. And they're the hardest. You know, I mean, we've talked about this plenty of times, Scotty, but for me it's all about the battles. And I know on Monday night I made a mistake in the official and put myself back and then made another mistake and actually ended up battling with the guys behind me, but I wanted to be battling with the guys up in front. And when you're driving around lonely out there, it can be hard. It's easy to lose your concentration.
That's just it. Very, very
push
easy
too hard.
Concentration, very easy to push through. Very easy to do everything. It's so much easier when you've got a marker that you're sort of chasing down. You've got something to chase because it just keeps you in that hunt. So he's going to be entry, what is it? Braking marker, entry, exit will be the only words going through Darren Fahey's mind. He's not had the easiest of the last couple of weeks.
That's it. And Samuel Thomas running in P10 at the moment. Dylan giving a big shout out there to Sam. He did get P10 quali at the moment, holding his position. Has fallen a few seconds back from Andrew, who's now starting to apply the pressure to Dean Sinkovich. So There's only half a second separating Andrew Lydon and Dean Sinkovich now. Dean doing quite well to jump up a couple of spots there at the start.
Yeah,
Top
he's
three at the moment.
having a real crack as Dean. Now down the inside is going to be Lydon. After that little bit of an incident on the opening lap, Dean will try and fight it back around the outside. Moves to the curb. He's got the momentum, so he has got the inside. And he will get back down the inside of Andrew Lydon. And this is not what Lydon wants. Lydon wants to get on with things. Lydon wants to try and chase that pack down ahead. And Dean is just slowing him up, just hesitating, checking that momentum up. But Dean has defended fantastically.
Yeah, Dean Sinkovich will be trying to keep him behind as long as he's got. I know this because on Sunday he did the same to me. But finally, I pressured him. He put a bit too much gas on and put it into the wall after the last turn. So that was a bit unlucky there, Dean. But I enjoyed the battle, buddy. Great to see
The way
you
that
still
you're
trying
racing at
hard
the
now.
moment, you're going to be sick of seeing Team SRW cars in the very near future because it's your
Yeah,
going
Brad
toe-to-toe.
Wall. Brad Wall's been right in amongst it. I've had a couple of great battles with Brad, and you know, look, it's awesome, mate. You know, I suppose being in the commentary booth here means that the guys get to hear a little bit more about, you know, from me. But for me, it's all about, you know, getting out there and having some fun and involving myself in the community, man. And there's one of the ways that I can do it. The other way is out on track and try and bully someone like yourself.
All right, this is the move now from Andrew Lydon V2.0 on Dean Sinkovich. He's going to be going the long way round into turn number one, braking late.
Yeah,
Dean's
Dean.
managed to held the apex, parked it on the apex, and that is a perfect move.
Well, Dean wasn't going to. I think he broke a little bit earlier. Didn't expect Adrian to go around the outside, so he wasn't letting that happen this time.
Well, he's settling in, Andrew Lydon, down the outside once more, and again, Sinkovich is just arresting that momentum every single time.
It's costing him time. They've just dropped another second to Wade Reynolds, now 3 seconds in front of this battle. But you are right. But I think Andrew's, you know, we try to talk in our team briefs and all that. That it's not just about being faster than the guy in front, but you know, you got to pick your moments. Try and work out where you're stronger, where you can make the move, or where the car in front of you is a bit weaker. Maybe he brakes a little bit earlier somewhere. Maybe, you know, he runs a little wide, so you can look to send the car up the inside. When, you know, you run mid-pack like I do, it's we're a lot closer in pace, so it's all about that sort of stuff. Playing
Greg
games.
Johnson is now backwards down the last corner. Might be able to see a puff of dust in the background, or a puff of smoke. That would have been Greg Johnson going around out the last corner.
He's
and
avoided
is
damage there.
Now cutting grass down there.
Blades on 3, you reckon?
Oh, we're having a banger night for this sort of stuff, aren't we, Cowie?
Oh, mate, you've got to take the opportunity. Oh, yeah, so I think that, was that Darren in front of him, or was that Carl in front of him then, I think, at that point? Oh, that's close too. But I think maybe he was closing up, didn't expect him to brake quite as hard, and he had to jam on him. The rear went around. But, look at that, the car's still got no damage on it, so he's still running.
He's
That's
not
not
having
over
a
yet.
good night, Greg Johnson. Not having a good night at all. It's just been chaos in everything he's participated in so far tonight. Right, we'll see if he can settle it down and have another crack here. Moving right along.
Well, Corey McFarlane's just jumped clear of the draft at the moment, so we're still on a replay, are we?
So, apologies for some technical issues at the moment, but it appears that our software decides that the TSL Welding Services replay screen looks fantastic. Yeah, there it is again. Look at that. Look at the TSL Welding Services screen. That's it. Occasionally, look, there's tech faults that are great, and there's tech faults that aren't so great, and that's one of the ones that runs down the middle, because, you know, more sponsor support's never a bad.
Well, sponsors aren't going to complain, you know, so if they're getting plenty of screen time. On that note, you saw the announcement today. One of our team sponsors, Toyo Sim, has actually come on board as a sponsor for the league for SRW. So, how cool is that?
Yeah,
We've got plenty of sponsors. We've got DSL, our major sponsor, Pagnian Advanced Simulations, Dragon RC, the Melville Equipment Corp. They sponsor our fastest lap each week. And now we've got Warren and Brown Technologies. Yep. And Toyo Sim. And of course, who were we forgetting? The promo department safety car.
Which we've seen a little bit of
names up there. And we're getting a mix across the board. We've got, so DSL Welding Services, they can build your rig, right? Toyo Sim, well, that's your direct drive and pedals there for your rig. Pagnian have got all the next level products out there, next level racing stuff. So I'm sure they've got seats and wheel mounts and all that sort of stuff. As a part of that, you can just about go through all of our sponsors to deck out your entire sim racing experience, buddy.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a discount code to get you involved in any of that, don't forget to post away on the chat. I know there is a discount code down there already for next level simulation rigs from Pagnian Advanced Imports. So if you're looking for any of the Pagnian Advanced Imports range, they will be available down below the stream. Right, settling into 45 minutes around this gorgeous place, Corey McFarlane has decided that he liked looking out his front windscreen and not seeing any other cars.
Well, he's got the keys in his pocket, mate. He's checked out of the room. It's 10 a.m. so he's made sure he's cleared that. But they're just going to send the cleaners in just to make sure he hasn't left any dirty little secrets. So I'll have to see if Adrian and the other boys can keep him honest.
You're banned. You are banned from broadcasting. No, Cowie.
Ah, come on, I had to go there with that, didn't I?
Oh, I mean, we have fun, don't we?
We do, buddy, we do. You talk a lot, but so do I, so...
One of us has to. One of us has to be the entertaining one.
Well, what was the go? I thought I was going to be leading the comms tonight because you were going to be AWOL and you get stuff dumped on your work and you raced home and wolfed your food down and made it on. You couldn't be left without me, buddy.
Well, I couldn't miss a Wednesday night. That food, I've never inhaled it so quickly. I'm actually surprised at the hiccups. But hey, that's when you love what you do, and you want to get cracking.
This is our battle here on track at the moment. Is that Nathan Verney chasing down Bradley Hudson? So these two guys have been at it for the last few laps, mate. And the rest of the field's just sort of spaced out at the moment. And again, the fast guys doing those 127s at the moment. I mean, Corey McFarlane did a 127.5 last lap, and his best is a 127.4. Adrian Loretti did a 127.9, and his best is a 127.8. So these guys are pushing hard, and it's amazing. Sort of the guys that can really drive these things have just got supreme confidence in that downforce grip. The rest of us, I suppose, we just can't trust it enough. But the problem is, that's what you got to do. You got to send it to keep the grip. That's the way the car's designed.
Yeah, got to get aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. What is it? Offense is the best form of defense. Something like that.
Well, that's right. We see multiple times the sort of rear of the car stepping out, and that is these guys really try to get on the power. There's something big has happened there, because that's both Dean Singovich and Wayne Reynolds around. What happened there? It's not showing it.
Anyway.
So SDK does not want to play ball, so we'll just...
That's okay. I prefer that we don't play ball. I prefer we go car racing. So we'll continue on with some of that, shall we?
Well, that's it. Is that we're getting out of the way? Is that Wade Reynolds coming up the bow? That's Sam Thomas looking to try and make a move up the inside of Dean Singovich. But Dean's held him up, and oh no! Sam's got wide, and that hurt. That's got to have hurt the rear of that car.
Oh, still cool.
And as that also looks like that Bradley Hudson's had a moment there too. And he was on the radio.
So something is...
Like he's
yeah, it's massively happened. So we're going to see if we can get the replays working finally. Indeed we have. So this is Hudson versus Verney. And Hudson will get back and across. He'll tag the inside grass. Done it on his own.
Yep. And he's done that all himself to see if he's avoided any major damage on that car.
Well, we're back to live pictures here at the moment. That's okay.
We're still
on our
showing the
hands.
replay, buddy. That was
course.
Dean holding onto that move and what happened to Sam Thomas there. And the grass, the big culprit there a couple of times, buddy. Although these are low to the ground, they don't have mower blades. You probably shouldn't be driving them out
They
there.
have wings. The wings will cut the grass, won't they?
Well, the wing is the other way around, isn't it? And it's on top of the car.
Yeah,
Not
but
like
it
the
does.
current F1 cars that have got the Venturi tunnels underneath them.
Then fancy tunnels is about the only thing that I understand out of that. Yes. Moving right along. It's all sort of happening along at its own pace, isn't it? There's not a huge deal actually going on out there at the moment.
Well, we've had a couple of battles. It's back still on between Dean Sinkovich and Wayne Reynolds at the moment. But we're just seeing that sort of the fast guys are getting into the groove, and those guys that battled a little bit earlier on in the race have now lost that time, and there's a gap, and it can be quite hard to bridge these gaps. And we can see like a good chunk of the field there in the 29s, and then we've got a couple of guys sort of flirting with high 28s, and then you've got Corey and Adrian still doing 27s. So it's crazy, mate.
So we're talking about that tyre fall off, and I think that demonstrates the point perfectly. So
Smoke signal he drove through then too, so because that's 5 seconds ahead to Wade Reynolds. He's a second in front of Dean Sinkovich. So now we did say fuel is probably going to be on the cards for these guys tonight. Generally, the tyres are avoided because cold rubber is a death trap in an F3. So it'll be interesting to see when the guys start to make their pit stops. Darren Fahey. We had a look at any of Darren's time. So he's been in the low 28s. So mid 28s and low 29s. So
he's there and thereabouts, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's not that pace of the front runners. So, but that's that running around on your own, as you said, not chasing anyone. Though he's going to see a car up in front of him now. So the first of the targets up in front, 4 seconds away. So we'll keep an eye on this and see how Darren goes. Was that a back marker just letting through? Was it up ahead? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. So anyway, he's going to settle back in and try and get himself cracking once more. It feels sort of spread out. There's not any huge battles, so to speak, of going on at the moment.
Darren Fahey's 47 seconds off the lead. How long's the pit stop here? About 27 seconds.
Was
The pit lane
20,
time?
20 seconds he spent. You know, I don't think he filled the car. I think he's just come in for the fast repair and ball again.
repair, you think maybe?
I don't think he's touched the fuel.
He's only stationary for 5 seconds. Maybe he didn't realise he could fill it right to the end and get home.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, so although that may have been enough fuel to get himself up. Well, I mean, the fuel calculators, he would have had to have it pre-primed. He may not have had, if he's using an automatic calculator, he may not have had it pre-primed because they rely on an in-race performance data. Car diving into the lane already will actually be Wade Reynolds, so he will dive into the lane very early on.
Well, we think that he might have suffered a little bit of damage there, so that may be a pretty good move from Wade. He did do a 131 that lap, but that probably had to slow down from the pit lane there. So hard to tell if there was any damage on that, but maybe just be safer than sorry and get that fast repair.
Yep, so he's going to settle himself back in once more. We'll see what the pace is going to be like from Wade, and it's critical to find out where he comes out in relation to Darren Fahey. Reynolds will come out not too far behind him, and the top stops are very similar length, and the 662 as well. Bradley Hudson, his stop was very similar length as well. So maybe that is enough fuel to get home. The fact that 3 of them have done it says to me that's enough fuel to get home.
So, Nathan Burney, newsflash, buddy. He's running in P5 up 4 spots, and he hasn't pitted. I was expecting Nathan to go in on lap 2 and run away with it. So,
Wow.
but he's enjoying the battles tonight. I know, right in the thick of it, Darren Fahey. This is going to be interesting because Darren's maybe played himself back into the middle pack here.
I'll have to wait and see.
Well, Samuel Thomas and Carl Pickering in front of him, they're going to have to pit. Maybe it's only a splash to get home too.
We're not going to... Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. Wait and watch. Darren Fahey now starting to close back in on Thomas up ahead of him. Semi Thomas is going to be vulnerable on the run down into turn number 1. Looks to defend the outside. Opens the door for Darren. And Darren's going to sneak on down the inside. Get that one done very, very quickly.
Big move. Set it up nicely.
I believe it said Fahey when he gets a move done.
You know he's going to watch this back and laugh his head off.
I do know, because he was giving us feedback on how good the puns were last week. So, Darren, when you're listening back to this one, let me know again. I love getting the direct messages directly from Darren.
Yeah, and where's the dirt, Darren? There was no kittens racing dirt this week, so I'm a little bit disappointed. Oh, who was that? Carl Pickering having to take major evasive action there.
Samuel Thomas making an escape,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that was just evasive action, I think, and that was a great reaction. And look, that car's still going, so I don't know what happened there, but maybe just got caught out, and the car in front was braking. And I know sometimes it's easy to be thinking about one thing, chatting away, and then you look up and go, hang on, was that my brake marker I just passed?
Anyway, this will give us a little bit more of an understanding.
Back marker. Oh, he hit.
Yeah, it's an odd one. Still an odd one, though.
Oh, I think it's that rather than locking up, just send it right, go across the grass, you've got the run off there.
Yeah, maybe.
Up, you just would have ran straight up his rear. So, might be the smart move of the night from Sam there. Keep himself running, and he can get a chance to catch these boys back up again. I love this on board. That's probably because I'm sitting in my sim rig at the moment, so my wheel matched up nicely there for that on board.
You were turning the wheel around in your sim rig. You turning fantasy laps there?
No, I've got my supercar wheel on at the moment. My Formula, my GT wheels up there. I would have that on if I was going to be really serious about shadow driving.
You can't do it half-heartedly. You got to go whole hog with shadow driving.
That's right, buddy. It's like air guitar, man. You can't do air guitar without pulling the basses.
Yeah, I mean, I play both a bass and acoustic at the same time when I'm playing air guitar.
Well, I suppose I don't play that much air guitar at the moment because I'm playing the real thing. But it's great fun, and you know, I'm definitely a white person that can't.
Whoa! Carl Pickering's off the road again.
Oh. He's looped that car right around by the looks of it too.
And I think he's broken the rear axle.
Oh, there is a request for a tow. Just come on the radio. So that may be the safety car that you predicted, Mr. Rattlegun.
Yeah, we might have ended up with the safety car that we were after.
Oh, there it is.
Indeed. Safety car, safety car, safety car. So, race control will come down to the tail end of pit lane.
Right, so this is what's happened. So, Carl running there. Okay, so this is that first incident where we saw Sam go off. Yep, we've seen that one. But what happened to Carl after here? He's a bit of grass. Looks like our leaders are coming into the pits to take advantage of pitting before the safety car comes out. So there should be a straight-on fight to the finish.
So McFarlane is in and already out. The Reddy is now in. Byrne is in. I dare say in.
Well, Darren Fahey is going to be the big winner as a part of that. It's Greg Johnson that's in the wall.
So we've set ourselves up now here for a safety car restart as everyone starts rejoining the racing surface. And ladies and gentlemen, I tell you what.
Well, it's going to give us a nice grandstand finish, buddy. We are almost 25 minutes into our 45-minute race. So, just as things were starting to sort of maybe even out and just blend off into the sunset, you know, the racing gods decide, no, it's starting to get a bit boring. Let's bunch them all back up. Have fun.
There'll be none of that. Let's have an interesting motor race, chaps.
Well, Mr. Greg Johnson, thank you. Even though I know that's not the way you wanted to finish your race, but the broadcast team appreciates it quite nicely. Bunching it back up. Give us action.
Dylan Thomas, not Greg.
No, Greg's the one that went into the wall and had to tow. So
No, that was Carl Pickering.
Because I thought it was Greg there that was the one in the wall.
No, it was Carl Pickering.
Ah, okay.
Get your drivers together, Cowie.
Both similar cars, perhaps. Well, he's right at the back here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Greg was in the wall as well. Perhaps not the one that requested the tow, but he's trying to catch back up now. So he's got a wave around.
Righto. Well, they've settled themselves all back out. We're going to be getting back green flag here, I think, in the very, very near future. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had enough action already, it is about to get better. A few cars still trying to tail their way around and tag themselves onto the tail end of this bunch.
Safety car's going to do another lap by the looks of this, so it should get everyone back pretty close to that lead lap, and a great battle for the finish, mate. So it's been another great night of action here at Sim Racing World TV. Guys, Season 4, our Australian Return Home Series, is already up. You can go to simracingworld.com.au and register. I think it's $10 entry for each of the series. We've got NASCAR trucks, we've got dirt ovals, the Sprint Car 360s, we've got TCRs, we've got Formula 3s, we've got Radicals, we've got Porsches, V8 Supercars. It's all here at Sim Racing World TV. If you want to get involved, guys, Season 4 has just come live today, so jump on and join the action and have a blast here with us, because we're racers, Scotty.
Yeah, we are.
We race.
Absolutely are.
Most of the admin team are racers, so
everyone on the admin
you've got a
team
grudge against race control. Don't abuse them. Take it out on track, and I don't mean by taking them out. Beat them in the race. And that's third bear. We're all passionate about our sim racing.
I will join the server tomorrow night for the Radicals, and the first thing I'm going to do is find Cowie and nudge him off track straight away.
Don't worry, I'm going to find myself and try and park in front of as many apexes as I can.
I'm going to out-qualify you, so that's not an issue, and make it.
That's all right, but you make a mistake lap 1, and then you get back to the pack.
Far out!
Fight your way through. So
you never get to let me get away with this. Anyway, safety car's peeling off. It's racing its way up the hill, trying to make it back to pit lane, because it's got to get into the lane before the track is deemed green, before they can go back to racing. I'll let Corey McFarlane know here in a moment that he's got control of the field. It's in his hands. Jump when he likes.
What's he going to do? Is he going to hold him up here?
Safety cars in the lane, so we're now in and under the hands.
Yeah,
Corey
he's going to hold
McFarlane.
this to the last point, is he? Don't want to give a chance of a tow.
This is like Fuji, isn't it?
Yeah. But there's a little bit more space though, I think. But yeah, look,
Fuji's
so
wider?
he's not going to give any of them a tow down that long straight, so. Alright, there he goes. He almost held that completely to the line, I think.
Yeah, just about. So he's gone green, and now they're on the run down into turn number 1. I thought the action was on display earlier on. It is about to get chaotic as they get themselves back underway. Darren Fahey
after from Nathan Verney. Look at that. He's going around the outside of Troy Durley, trying to force the issue there too, buddy. It's a great start from Verney.
Yeah, and
Andrew Light and Darren Fahey.
I was about to say, yeah, Darren Fahey's up a whole host of spots and back involved in the action once again. So Verney will try and settle himself off down into the distance, and Fahey and Lydon are going to go head-to-head here over the next few laps. Troy Dooley back from what was a phenomenal qualifying effort, I believe in P3 for him, has dropped that little bit further back now and settled into P5. It's been a reasonable run from Dooley. Who's going to be the first to try and get down the inside, get down the outside? Who's going to line up the move? I think it's going to be on into turn number 1 on our next lap as they get that huge drive up the hill. Dooley is under assault. He's got 2 Kittens cars filling his rear mirror at this point in time, and he's the car that looks the most vulnerable. This might be P6 for Dooley at the end of this lap, minimum.
Well, Darren looks like he's there's no team orders there between the Kitten 1 and Kitten 2 racing teams. So I reckon he's probably hoping Andrew tries to open the door and maybe, Troy shuts it a little bit. And
Here we go. Lydon pulls
already
out.
trying hard.
Lydon pulls out to go down the inside, but he's not quite close enough, and he'll have to settle back in. And now he'll have to follow him through the center S as those tyres starting to overheat and wear just a little bit. So this is Loretti and the battle between Loretti and McFarlane up at the front of things. And Loretti is closer. He's going to make a block and just cover it off as Corey McFarlane. But that is
he's run wide there. They'll be an off
Loretti's
track.
been.
But I think would he get a slowdown there?
No, he
He's not
wouldn't
getting
be
out of it.
slowdown for
Doesn't
that.
look like it.
Yeah, so Loretti's going to try and settle himself back in. He's looking for that clean air to the nose cone of the number 85 machine. Fighting up against the 94 of McFarlane.
Adrian has been finding pace week after week, buddy, so we do know that he picked up some new pedals about a month ago. So it looks like he's got them bedded in pretty good now, man, and he's pushing hard. It's great to see, because Corey didn't really have it all his own way in the TCRs tonight. Was battling up front, and we want to make sure he doesn't run away with it here, and Adrian's keeping on the hunt there. Daniel Byrne also running great in P3, staying with his teammate.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is Daniel Byrne's done a great job to sort of stick with these guys and just about hang on to them as well. He'll get the double toe here. As soon as that toe is broken, he might start to fall a little bit further back. But Loretti is just not disappearing. And have a look in the background as well, because Troy Dooley, it's Darren Fahey and Andrew Lydon. So it's Loretti who's sliced and diced his way down the inside.
And that was Nathan Verney. A great move on Troy Dooley into T1. And that takes Nathan up into P4, so he's up. Is that 5 positions or 6 positions? 5 spots. Nathan Verney's up. So I think we've found a track that Nathan enjoys. Has he got the pace to catch Daniel Byrne? It's only a second there, buddy.
Well, I can tell you.
We are inside the last 8 minutes, so...
No, there's 12 minutes to go here, Cowie. You're a little bit early.
Oh, we are. I apologise. There is 12 now.
Yep,
So more than enough laps to get it done.
And Loretti is closing it once again on McFarlane, so that one's not going to disappear. Byrne's starting to fall off of that chain, so he's going to settle into a pretty distant third, you would just about assume, barring any mishaps. The next chain of cars as well, Verney, Dooley, Fahey and Lydon, they're all just about attached together as well, so they are going to be glued together at the end of this race. And have a look at Wade Reynolds, who's just brought into this one as well, and Hudson's coming with them as well now, so there's a few cars that are starting to staple themselves back together.
Well, we've said before, one moment you start to battle on track, it just slows you all down, and that gives the guys behind a chance to catch up. So we'll look at that. We're looking at a 4-car train soon to become a 6 or 7-car train. That's awesome.
Have a look at Lydon. He's looking for the opportunity to have a crack at Troy Dooley. He thinks that he's got that pace. He's a little bit faster. He's getting a double toe, just a little bit stronger than that single toe, enough to try and keep him there and thereabouts. The battle for the lead's along.
Actually got past Andrew.
Here it comes now.
Yeah.
Fahey's going to move to the inside of Troy Dooley up here, and that is Darren Fahey getting the job done. Back to P5.
A sensible move. Troy tried to stick it around, keep it on the outside, and you can see here Darren just making sure he held the inside line, so you can't get up the inside of me shenanigans.
And no crisscross available for Troy Dooley, and everyone's starting to lock brakes into this middle sector as they try and settle themselves down into the left-hander known as Purino, back up the hill. It's just such an undulating track. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down.
It's what gives us its character. It's it's not flattering. You've got dips, you've got those little climbs. You've got a couple of places where the car is loaded as you're coming up over the rise, and you know you've got to try and be very careful. You know, so easy to run wide here if you get on the gas too early and take a wrong line.
Have a look up ahead of this pack because Darren Fahey is covering off the inside from Troy Dooley, and Dooley's going to move back to a more defensive, more flowing line. Fahey was looking to break the draft, try and buy Andrew Lydon in behind. A little bit of a ticket onto that rear bumper of Troy Dooley because Darren Fahey's trying to stretch that margin. He is setting his sights on Nathan Verney. That's where he's looking. Dooley's already looking to defend down here from Lydon, so you can sense Lydon's coming. Lydon's going to show the nose.
Oh,
Lydon
nice move.
Very deep, but he will get it stopped and he will get it done as well. 2 in 2 laps at the same spot for Troy Dooley.
Try and sweep up around. He again covering nicely there from Andrew Lydon, and he's got that done well. And it's still on up the front as well. Adrian Loretti has been on the back of Corey McFarlane and hasn't let him go at all just yet. So we're going to get that grandstand finish we were looking for, buddy.
Well, I was about to say, you thought the move looked reasonable once. How about again, but with white streaks this time instead of black? It was basically what Troy Dooley was thinking. Alternatively, you've heard the term raining cats and dogs. Well, this was getting passed by cats and cats.
Well, Sheepy on the chat there is saying we might need a demo derby server. We've actually, the F3s have been one of those series that tends to bring out those sort of car part actions flying everywhere. So
Here we go! Battle for the lead!
Oh.
Down the inside, Loretti tries to get it done, and McFarlane will cover it off and hover on that apex, and they're backing themselves up into Daniel Byrne here. So Byrne has closed that margin down significantly now.
Oh, look at
He's
that.
close enough. Loretti's down the inside. McFarlane's going to have to park it on the inside of the road. He's going to squeeze the apex off, but Loretti's going to get down there. He'll weave back. He'll try and open it up. He's going to go around the outside. He's run off the track. He's trying to hang on to it with every little bit of trickery that Corey McFarlane's got. He's only got to hang on for another 8 minutes or so.
This is a great battle, and as you said, it's bringing Daniel Byrne back into it. Nathan Verney is about 4 seconds behind, so you know he'd be liking to see these guys battling because that brings him into the mix. And Nathan Verney, the podium might be on the cards for him.
Well, Byrne is closing. Byrne is just about there. Huge lockup from Corey McFarlane. That cannot be understated because that is tyre heat that's loading up into those cars, and Verney is going to keep creeping closer. That margin, it was starting to extend. He's right at that 4-second margin. He's just sneaking back in, and now I'm interested to see what does Loretti do down at turn number 1 again. What do the Kittens boys do up and down the field? Because they're still battling away. They're still trying to grab a whole bunch of spots. And here comes Daniel Byrne into this. He is now only 0.2 of a second back from Loretti. So he is thinking he's in with a crack here. Loretti might line him up for another shot at turn 4 as they come through the center S's on lap number 25.
Oh, well, you know, 2 Kitten Racing machines here, so if they can both get past Corey McFarlane, it might be perfect, buddy.
Yes. Yes. Now it's going to be another Kittens machine that's going to fire it down the inside of Nathan Verney. Set that one up from a mile back is Darren Fahey, and now it's Kittens Racing 2, 3, and 4, but Verney's got something to say about it. He'll hang it around the outside on the run back up the hill. Who's got the horses? Well, Kitten-powered cars apparently don't run as fast as the ones that have horses.
Oh, but he's got it done around the outside there, so I would have sworn that Nathan had put that in a spot there where he could defend that, but Darren got some great drive around the outside and, yeah, got it done. Great move.
And this will be Andrew Lydon trying to line this one up for the next lap down into turn number 1 as well, because he's starting to buy into this as well. It's turned into a 3-car battle up in front of this pack, and Troy Dooley's nearly back up on his rear bumper as well. So Dooley will be thinking he's got a little bit of an option now as well.
Remember a lap ago I said that he was about 4 seconds behind the battle for the podium, Nathan? Well, these guys are now 5 seconds, or 5.5. So it just goes to show, you know, that, and that's only 1 lap ago. So you battle for a lap and you lose a second and a half.
Yep, and here comes Troy Dooley back down the inside there. 2 wide, 2 by 2 on the run down into turn number 1 once more. Verney and Fahey will settle it down, but Troy Dooley and Andrew Lydon are still going at it hammer and tong, looking for the run now out of turn number 3 as he got great drive through the centre S's. Covers the inside as Andrew Lydon chasing him across the track. Trying to open up a door there for Troy Dooley. There's space on the outside, but just squeezes that door shut from Andrew Lydon. But Dooley's got pace. He is going to buy back into this.
Well, look, he qualified P3, buddy, so we know he's got pace. Again, it's easy when you're racing here that, you make that tiny little mistake or someone gets up the inside of you, you can easily lose positions. But again, his pace has been great, and it's awesome to see him be smiling his head off right in the middle of this battle and loving it.
Well, back up front, just to check in with those guys as well. Loretti is now starting to fall just a little bit back off of Corey McFarlane. Half a second that gap's opened up to. He's opened the same back up to Daniel Byrne as well. But
Close it back in, and again, the toe will be coming down the straight, so it's probably a bit far back to do anything about this lap, but look at how much this toe works and how much he can close in.
Yep, he will be chasing as hard as he possibly can. I'm interested to see if Fahey can start to close back in on towards Daniel Byrne, because if that margin can close up anything, no, he's going to drop another 0.3 of a second or so.
We've only got about 4 minutes of this race remaining, buddy, so we might see another 3 laps. This might actually go the 30 laps predicted, or pretty close to it. So it may not be enough time for Darren to get onto the back of this, but considering what happened to Darren earlier in the race, pitting on lap 2 and taking advantage of that fast repair, it's a great drive to find himself now in P4.
Yeah, he's done a phenomenal job to drive back through the field at a nice rate of knots. Now Troy Dooley and Wade Reynolds in the background, they've been going at it, and they've fallen off the back end now of the Fahey Verney Lydon group. So that will split that pack wide open and change things up a little bit. And that's about all. She's settled down now enough. The closest 2 cars on track at the moment are actually Verney and Fahey. So those are probably the guys we should probably keep our eyes on for the next little while. And exactly like Cowie said, 42 minutes about to tick onto the clock. I'd say we've got 2 more laps left.
Well, we've got a race lead on and only a 0.6 second gap from first back to second, so it's not over yet, mate. But running out of time, Adrian Loretti, so he's going to have to see if he can get close enough to send it. We have seen him have a go tonight. He's a bit closer now, but it looks like Corey's just maybe getting a nice strong exit, focusing on his lines, park the car, and we know that Corey McFarlane is one of those names in Aussie sim racing that's been around a while and well known. We know he's got pace. But look at Adrian, he's closing right up.
He has. He's got a really good launch off the centre S. So fastest car on that last lap was Corey McFarlane by a 10th over Darren Fahey, who did pull 3 to 4 tenths back out of the car up ahead, which is still Daniel Byrne. So that margin has closed just a little bit, but it's only a little bit.
Nathan Burney hasn't given up either here. He's pushing hard. I think he might have been trying that high line that he saw Darren get him last lap. He went pretty high there, and smoke signals from Darren in front of him. So what is that saying? Get back? Oh, unlucky race for Sam. What's happened to Sam? He's right at the back of this battle. So yeah, so unfortunate, Dylan. It is what it is, buddy. We do like. Hopefully Sam was enjoying that battle he was having mid-pack there in the middle of the race. Because, sometimes you just got to take those sort of little things out of the race. If it didn't all go plan, at least if you had some good battles, you can take some enjoyment out of it.
Grin from ear to ear is what you're looking for at the end of a race, regardless of the result. Because if you've got a grin on, points don't matter. That's what I've learned over my career of sim racing. Righto, moving right along, and Adrian Loretti has just gone 100th faster than McFarlane on that lap, but I think time is just about running out. We are 43 minutes, just about to tick over 44 minutes. There will only be 1 more lap left in this race. The next time they cross the line, it will be all over, all resolved. So that one up front, I think they're out of time to get that done. but now it's probably back onto the battle between Fahey and Verney because these guys are just continuing to remain locked together.
And something's happened.
And iRacing, I believe the server has just gone down within a minute of the end.
Oh, are you kidding me? So we have run a minute too long. And the server has closed. We did say there was going to be maintenance tonight.
Yep. The servers have gone down.
No. Well, that is going to be an interesting one for to go through and have a look. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to do the results for the end of the previous lap. So this is what happened to Sam. Oh, he's just looped the rear. He's done well to keep that out of the fence. So
it was interesting to note the right front was actually off the ground there at the end of it when he was just with the way the circuit's laid compared to the off-track surfaces.
And you can see here now just struggling with the overheated tyres or damaged the rear maybe.
No, that looks like cooked rear tyres for sure.
Yeah. By that or broken rear suspension.
Fun fact, you can fry an egg, but rear tyres don't like it.
Well, that's it. But the boys did say that the track was hot for the TCRs. Only 26 degrees here for the Interlagos race. But
and at the end of it, they can go and jump in
now, are we?
Into one of the two pools. So, well,
what do we do? Do we try and bring in Corey, Adrian, and Daniel to have a chat? See if any of the boys are still out there. I'm going to jump up and do the chat, and we'll see if we can get a couple of the boys down.
That's really disappointing. I was enjoying that up until that point. Of course, we won't even have results either. But anyway,
it will close the whole thing, will it?
Yeah, so it'll be completed the cessation of the prior lap.
That's what we'll have to work it out of, but iRacing will probably just tell us everyone disconnected, won't it?
We won't
try to have a look at it. Yeah.
I've never had to do that before, Cowie. It's a great question.
I've had this happen to me in an official before.
Yes.
And I think I've just come up with everyone saying disconnected. So I don't know what's going to happen, but that's unfortunate. We got the boys in the green room so we can come down and have a chat to them and see who feels like they've been robbed the most.
Well, we've actually got the guy that was. We're gonna talk to the drivers as if it was official at the end of that previous lap, and we'll start with the driver of. Well, I tell you what, you throw out the results. Yeah, the Kittens 2 machine. You throw out the results and it messes everything up. It's the 808 of Daniel Byrne, of course.
Hey guys.
You had that done with one more lap, mate. They should give
I reckon I had them. I was just waiting. A couple more corners was when I was going to attack. What a shame,
mate. They still had to get a fuel sample out of their cars yet at the end of the race. We knew you had enough fuel, so they should hand it over.
That's possible. They might have ran out of fuel at the end there.
Yep. So real good penalties whole field next race, except for Daniel Byrne.
I hope so. Sounds good. Gives me a chance. Adrian's
you say that, buddy, but you had a pretty good race there. Some, had to hold your own, and there was action aplenty happening all around you, buddy.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I had front row seats, watching the guys in front, Adrian and Corey, battling it out, and I was just kind of sitting back, hoping something would happen, so I could pounce. But they were both very clean. It was
in your toes and trying to get them to make contact.
Yeah. But I'm happy I was able to almost keep pace with those guys. They kind of got away from me a couple of times, made a couple of little mistakes, but they're really quick, both of them.
Talk to us about the love of Interlagos. It's just one of those tracks that drivers tend to want to get out there and want to get racing on.
It's, for me, I haven't always loved it, but I have to admit in the last couple of days practicing, working out where the lines are and understanding how to attack the corners, I actually really like it now, really like it.
It's one of those tracks that just flows. It's the uphill, it's the downhill, it's the nature of the corners.
I was going to say,
when you come to a track and it's got a corner called the Center S's, like
Well, what I was going to say there, buddy, is you heard that Scotty loves this place and you didn't want to speak any blasphemy on his
Exactly. Didn't want to offend. Yeah.
This is the church of my racing. Thank you.
Oh, is it really? No, it's an awesome track. Love it.
Good answer.
Safe answer, I would say. Anyway, moving right along. Kind of a little bit. That's server. It's patch week here in the iRacing town. Are you looking forward to that new electric car? That's the one thing we haven't talked about, Cowie. Is electric car coming to iRacing this week?
Yeah, that's right. It'll be interesting.
You gonna have a crack,
Yeah.
Daniel?
Yeah, I will. It looks good. I've got a YouTube channel, Driver 808, and I'm planning to get that straight away and kind of show it off a little bit. So yeah, it looks awesome. I don't know about the sound of it though. It sounds a bit weird.
Mate, give me drivetrain wine. I love drivetrain wine.
Yeah, we'll have to see when we're actually in the car what it actually sounds like. But yeah, it looks good and it's different. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Something you need. Ladies and gentlemen, the driver of the 808, Kittens Racing 2 driver Daniel Byrne. Daniel Byrne is proudly brought to you by...
I'm brought to you by Kitten Racing, Driver 808. And I just want to say hi to Bianca, Atari, Adrian, Drew, Darren, and the guys at Carlin's.
Mum and Dad for bringing me.
Oh yeah, Mum and Dad as well. Love you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Daniel Byrne. He's had another blast from the past and got out there and got amongst it tonight. Thanks, Daniel.
See you guys. Bye.
Moving right along to P number 2, driver of the 85, and another driver that I'm assuming will just immediately, the first words out of his mouth was, I had him covered. I don't know why the server's over.
Yeah, robbed.
Yeah, I was gonna get him at the end there.
I thought so.
Well,
you had a couple of big sends on him there, man. That was.
I was just trying to
pressure.
I was trying to pressure him. It wasn't gonna happen, I don't think, but I overcooked it trying to do that. But no, he apparently filled a full tank in the pit stop. That's why he was a little bit slower in the second half.
Cork in the bottle, man.
No. He's making excuses.
Apparently.
Allegedly.
That's it.
He'll come in and he'll tell us that, and we'll be like, yeah, prove it. We're going to need proof.
That's it.
It was good to be up there racing with him. So a bit earlier on, he just sort of jumped clear, and you just had to hold your own, and then the safety car bunched it back up, mate. But you love it driving these machines, you know. And Interlagos, Scotty's given us a bit of an iffy sort of, you know, rep on this place. What's Interlagos mean for you guys?
No, it's not my favourite. I've only done it a few times, but yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. I did alright, so can't complain.
Well, Scotty's probably scaring daggers at you because this is his favourite place.
Yeah.
He wants a 24-hour here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, we'll move on from the blasphemy I've heard again. Everyone's blaspheming tonight about this place. Look, honestly, it's a fast, it's a flowing circuit. Following in these cars is quite difficult around here, but then it makes up for it with the toe. You had a crack tonight, and the thing that I'm really noting from you this season, Adrian, is as the season's progressed, it's been a tenth, a second tenth, a little bit better every single race that the season's gone on. You started even with your teammates. You started perhaps maybe Darren was a little bit quicker. Maybe some of the other guys were a little bit quicker back at the start of the season. That's changed. Over the last couple of weeks, Adrian Loretti is the Kittens driver we're talking about.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You know, it's just seat time in the car really. So the more you drive it, I didn't drive it much before. We did sort of one race a week in it, but there wasn't much driving. But the
boys aren't blaming you for those new fancy pedals.
I was going to say they're probably going to say, well, since I've got the pedals, so they might have to upgrade as well.
Basically, Kittens Racing is looking for an equipment sponsor, ladies and gentlemen out there. If we can put you on a Toyota Sims, we can put you on a Pagnian Advanced Imports. We'll do that for you behind the scenes. Yeah. We'll talk to those guys.
Yeah.
Looking forward now, we've got 2 weeks left in the championship. Points-wise, you boys and Kittens are all fairly close, and well, there's never any team orders at all for you guys. It's always fight it out, sort it out amongst yourselves. Anything changed going into the last couple of weeks? Is there any stares across the room, any awkward silences between the teammates now as everyone starts to figure themselves out with 2 rounds left?
No, everyone's just running their own race and having fun, basically. So, no team orders.
Beautiful.
Not like last week. It's all good, buddy.
Mum and Dad were watching last week. That's different.
Make sure you get up Darren for me because I got no juicy dirt this week from the Kidneys boys. So
Yeah, well, I think he's dished it all out. He dished it all out last week, I reckon.
Oh, okay. Tell him to dig harder, and find more.
Yeah, he will. He will.
If you've got a skeleton in the closet, Darren Fay is going to find it. Ladies and gentlemen, drivers from the Kittens 1 Racing, number 85. It's Adrian Loretti, and he's going to repeat Daniel Burns' sponsors back to us, I'm sure.
There you go. So, obviously, Kittens, AML Technology, and then Daniel at Driver 808 on YouTube.
Literally repeated them straight back to us. Thank you very much, Adrian Loretti.
And a shout out to my kids, Daniela and Michael.
Good to hear from them. They're coming to race next season instead of you guys, right?
Yeah, they'll get on there.
Sim's coming down the chimney for Christmas.
That's it. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Adrian. Have a great night.
Thanks, bye.
And finally, second time that we've spoken to him tonight, he's making a habit out of this. Corey McFarlane, driving the 94, cut short by a lap, but you had them covered, yeah, Corey. They weren't even close enough, were they?
Nah. He was getting pretty close in the last few laps, but then sort of had it at 6/10 every time coming onto the main straight, and that seemed to be just enough.
Mate, another cracking race. Obviously, you settled into a nice rhythm early on. The mid-race safety cars, they always just muddle things up. And Adrian had not just one, but there was 2 or 3 cracks then. But it was good to go racing with him by the look of things. You look like you enjoyed that just as much as the TCRs.
Yeah, I mean, this car in general is a lot more fun to drive.
Okay, everyone and hating the things that I like tonight. What is it? Anyway, keep going.
They're average. Well, the good thing is you can, have door-to-door racing in the TCRs where it's no doors on this to do it with. But with the safety car, I came in and accidentally filled it up, filled the tank full, which didn't matter for time in the pit stop. But yeah, it was pretty heavy.
On that restart, you waited until right just before the line, just trying to make sure they didn't get a tow on you.
Yeah, that and as I was trying to put my bottle cap lid back on, which I'd lost.
Well, that'd be the worst thing, because then the sim rig goes and that's it. That's the end of it.
You don't want that getting caught under the brake pedal, come on.
I mean, it's a good excuse.
Look, it's been fun sort of right throughout the championship. It's starting to wind down now. We've got 2 weeks left. What's on the horizons for Corey McFarlane? I'm looking at maybe doing Supercars maybe in this RW League next season. A few rounds of that maybe, and see how I go on that, or probably do a few races in F3 here and there, and maybe TCR.
Season 4 has opened for registration, buddy, so you can jump right on that. All Aussie tracks, I think, this season. I think, F3's around Bathurst. I think that's one we're going to look forward to.
I was going to say, hey mate, the NASCAR Truck Series is always looking for new drivers if you're interested in a Monday night run.
Yeah, not sure.
Complain about driving a TCR. What's he going to do driving a boat?
I actually enjoy the NASCARs on a road course more than TCR.
Oh, okay, all right. So I don't even know how to take that anymore. Like, I've been bullied, I've been harassed in the combox. Now I've been somewhat. I don't even know. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey McFarlane returns to your podium, and he is going to grab that top step in the Formula 3s for Interlagos here tonight. Again, Corey, the guys that make it possible for you.
Standard Sim Sports, Precision Performance Setup Shop, ProServe Finance, Sydney Computers, AJ Insurance, Transform Media, everyone at SRW, and everyone through the racing tonight in TCR and Formula 3. It's a pleasure racing with them all.
Yeah, it sounds like you've actually had a real blast. It's you talking to everyone in the green room before you jump down the commentary box too, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, it's very friendly around here. Great community, and it's very respectful on track as well as, just in the Discord as well. So it's good fun to be around, and looking forward to coming back next time.
Righto, ladies and gentlemen, driver of the number 94, winner of the Formula 3, runner-up unofficially from the TCR, And that brings us to a close of another wacky Wednesday night. Patch mode has just been unveiled for iRacing, which means the servers are down. That race finishes, unfortunately, 1 lap shy of the distance it was likely to go, but this was the results when they last crossed the start-finish line. It was Corey McFarlane from Adrian Loretti, Byrne, Fahey, Verney. What a cracking battle that was to the flag between Darren Fahey and Nathan Burney. Lydon, Dooley, Reynolds, Hudson, Sinkovich, Johnson, Thomas, Pickering, and Sinkovich. And a shame for Sammy Thomas that he didn't quite make it all the way to the flag. There was not some opportunities left on the table there. He'll be back again next week. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps us up here on a Wacky Wednesday. But tomorrow night, Cowie, things return to fun central as we go radical racing.
The battle will be on again, my friend. You just make sure you make that lap 1 mistake and I'll be right there in front of you.
Look, the other option is you could qualify better, and then I've got to get around you.
I know, I'll give it my best, buddy, but I love driving those things, but sometimes I'm not quite as fast as you open wheelers.
Then after that, we'll journey back to Japan to Okayama for the 3rd final round of the Porsche Cup Series, and Sunday night as well. Don't forget to tune in. Cowie returns to racing action for the remaining 2 nights of your week in the V8 Supercars from Okayama. That is it. It's all signed, sealed, and delivered here from Interlagos. We have been Sim Racing World TV, proudly brought to you by DSL Welding Services, Pagnian Imports for everything that you need to get you racing, as well as Dragon RC Melville Equipment Corporation. We thank the new sponsors that have joined us on board for season number 4, Warren and Brown Technology Services, and just announced today we've had Toyo Sim jump on board as well. If you'd like to be involved with Sim Racing World, sponsorship opportunities continue to abound. Nights of the week, they're all there. Everything's available. Everything's for sale. In fact, you can even pay to have my face on your car if you really, really want to, although it's not recommended. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you again tomorrow night for Sim Racing World action, starting with those radical SR8s and SR10s from Laguna Seca. Bye for now, not forever. See you next time, and let's go racing.